Hello, everyone. I'm Dijon,
Namayera.
and welcome to the Mustardcast, the podcast about the art of storytelling and how it's used across different mediums. Make sure that you like, comment, and subscribe if you want to see our channel grow, and to click the notification bell so that you're notified when we post. As always, free Palestine. There's a lot of bad stuff going on in the world, especially here in America, and we all need to help each other.
Mm-hmm.
It's the famous saying of if we don't help each other, eventually one of us is going to go down, and then there's going to be nobody left to help us. So we all
Mm-hmm.
have to, stand up for each other and, the injustices going on in the world.
Do our part.
But, today we have a very different episode of the Mastercast because we'll only be covering games because there was an ungodly amount of game showcases on top of the Nintendo Switch 2 release.
Mm-hmm.
We'll be posting our review of The Last of Us Season 2, the final two episodes, episodes 6 and 7, next week, or 2 weeks from now, in the next episode of the Mastercast, so stay tuned for that. But yeah, we're going to start with the Nintendo Switch 2 and my unfortunate news.
Oh no.
So, my order got canceled, right?
Damn.
And I was upset. I was like, okay, so clearly they didn't have as many in stock as they thought they would. And now they're canceling a bunch of people's orders because mine wasn't the only person. I'm the only order to get canceled. And it was happening a lot at Walmart. And that's where I got mine. But then later that week, or maybe the week after, they sent an email. Walmart sent an email saying that they made a mistake and that you could pre-order it again. And I was like, this might be a scam. Let me not click this link. So I went to the website, and there was something in my cart that I forget what it said exactly, but it was essentially a thing that would allow me to re-add my pre-order. So I called Walmart to be sure, and they was like, yeah, we made a mistake, so we're issuing, a way for people to still get their Switches. And I was like, okay. So I accepted it, paid it. Luckily, they didn't take the money off my card from the first pre-order. So I got this. Trust me, I checked. I went all the way back to that April 24th bank statements just to check. I was like, y'all better not have took my money.
Right.
So yeah. And then, so it got delayed from the day of the release, Thursday, to Monday. So yesterday, Monday, we're recording this on Tuesday. I'm glued to the window. I'm going back and forth up and down the stairs to the door to make sure the gate's unlocked and checking things. I'm being vigilant because I've had packages stolen around here before. And I'm looking at the tracker because there was a truck trackers from FedEx. And I refresh it and it says it delivered. So I run downstairs. I don't see no package.
Oh shit.
So I'm like, what's happening? So I look around my neighbors to see, okay, did they just give it to the wrong address? And then I'm walking up the block looking at, I'm like, what's happening? They sent a delivery picture. So I look at it. It is not my front doorstep. I'm like, what is this?
Oh shit.
So I'm looking around like, what's happening? Where's my package? So I called Walmart, which was stupid. I should have called FedEx first. And they basically just said, oh, if it's not, you got to wait 48 hours. And I was like, okay, you're not helpful. So I called FedEx. And as I'm calling FedEx, I'm walking around the block because I'm like, I'm finding this package. So the picture was of a very distinct doorstep, thankfully, that had a bright red door frame and a glass door with a very distinct pattern on the floor behind the glass door. So I walk around the block, I walk around the corner and up the block, and I see it. I see the doorstep, I see the package. I run across the street, dodging cars, and snatch it up and briskly walk home. And I secured the Switch. No thanks to whoever the fuck that FedEx driver was who delivered the package to the complete wrong address. Because I look at the package, it had my right address on it. It had the right address on it. My address is 4 digits, and they sent it to an address around the corner with 3 digits that was 1 number off. And it's a completely different street, so that doesn't even matter. They clearly just weren't paying attention. And I'm not giving them any excuses. This was a $500 package. I don't care if you're tired. Read the address right.
Exactly.
This is your job. It was insane. But luckily, I secured the Switch last night at like 5:30 or something. Way later than I should have gotten it. But I barely played it. I like made sure all the games that I bought worked
Ah.
because I got some games off eBay and I ordered some games off Amazon. So I just put the disc in, or not the disc because they don't use disc. I put the cards in, um, and played all of them for like 15 minutes. Which I got Super Mario Odyssey, um, Link's Awakening, Echoes of Wisdom, and Metroid Dread. And I got the Mario Kart bundle, so I had Mario Kart on it. Played that a little bit,
Of course.
and I downloaded Tricky Towers because I wanted to play that. I like Tetris, and Tricky Towers is basically like multiplayer arcade style Tetris. Is fun.
Ooh,
And I downloaded a demo for Sea of Stars. Started playing that. And yeah, that's all I've played so far. And I'm gonna play a little bit more tonight. Maybe not, because I think I'm gonna play Expedition 33 because I'm almost done with that. I'm on the final mission, but I decided that I want to do some of the major side quests before I finish it. So I could have beaten it this weekend before the Switch came, but I decided to do some extra stuff before then. So I'm definitely going to finish Expedition 33 by the end of the week, though. That way I'll have more time to play the Switch, and also I need to finish Doom. I'm in no rush to finish Health of Midnight, because if I'm being honest, it's not as good as I thought it'd be. But I'll get around to it eventually. And there's also Assassin's Creed, but that game's gigantic. That game can wait.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's too many games, man, which is, you know.
No, for real.
It's hard to complain about there being too many games, but like, there is.
Yeah.
I only got so much time in the day.
Exactly.
But speaking of too many games, so starting with the PlayStation State of Play.
Yes.
Most of the blurbs and information I'll be talking about came from the PlayStation blog, or of course the State of Play itself. So, the first trailer that we saw was for Pragmata. Pragmata is Capcom's new science fiction adventure. It received a new gameplay trailer during today's State of Play, or last week's State of Play. This early peek of the game's gameplay shows its unique twist of action and strategy. As in Pragmata, players must control its two protagonists, Hugh and Diana, who happen upon one another, and must work together to defeat the Lunar Station AI and return to Earth. Both have their own abilities, and you'll need to control them both at the same time. To overcome the many obstacles you'll face. Oh, let me read that again. Both have their own abilities, and both have their own abilities, and you'll need to control them both at the same time to overcome the many obstacles you'll face. This 2-in-1 approach, where hacking is key to your success, is our own unique take on combat that you'll only find here in Pragmata. They ended the trailer with an in-game note saying 2026 it's real, because in the last trailer they ended it with a note saying that it was being delayed.
Right.
So unfortunately, just before we started recording, people posted their hands-on with this game, so I don't have that information to go off of. We'll have to talk about that next episode. But from the trailer, it looks very cool. It looks interesting.
It does. It's like if BioShock were less steampunky and you got to play as a Big Daddy, which I'm frankly interested in.
Yeah, kinda. Well, I mean, the second BioShock you do play as a Big Daddy.
Wait, I completely forgot. I say that and I'm like, I'm always telling you should play BioShock, and then I'd be forgetting. It's been a while since I played. I might do that again.
So it looks like hacking is a minigame. Where players aim at the enemies, then use the face buttons as a D-pad to navigate a grid interface. And the goal is to guide a cursor to a green square to complete the hacking. And you do this in the middle of combat with the Diana character, which is very interesting.
Interesting, but also it's been done before. Automata does that.
Oh, I didn't know
that. Nier Automata. Yeah, that's almost exactly how its hacking minigame works. It's kind of crazy.
Yeah, I'll have to check out some of these gameplay videos. But I feel like for me with this game, that sounds interesting in terms of gameplay, which Capcom's always going to do interesting gameplay. But visually, this game doesn't look interesting to me. I don't know. It feels very generic in terms of art direction. And I wish it was a bit more unique.
It's very bland. Mm-hmm.
But, if the game's fun, I'll probably check it out. But, there's no Xbox Game Pass to play this on, so the chances are very low. Unless there's a demo, which Capcom is pretty good about releasing demos for their games. So they might just release a demo
Yeah,
that I check out, and if I like it, I'll play the whole game.
that'd be a banger.
Next we have Romeo is a Deadman.
Mm-hmm.
Super bloody action, crazy twists and turns to blow players' minds, and a whole mess of kind of stereotypical gimmicks, all rolled into one wild ride. Our hero, Romeo Stargazer, is a man stuck between life and death. His own was saved mere seconds before the end by way of a time paradox that shattered the time-space continuum, which was created by a genius scientist screwing around. Now Romeo is FBI space-time special agent Deadman, and sporting a rad mask called Deadgear, must hunt space-time's most wanted fugitives through multiple universes. Romeo swaps between guns and swords, using his enemy's own power against them to absolutely annihilate the evil hordes in this peak example of full-on bloody action, featuring ridiculously clever level design in which you'll be jumping back and forth between the real-world subspace and white-hot battles, cathartic enough to collapse the universe itself. When the going really gets tough, unleash Bloody Summer, an instant-kill special attack that uses blood accumulated from your enemies to turn things around and get back on top. This is coming from the devs behind No More Heroes, Grasshopper Manufacturers. And
It looks like it.
when I first saw the trailer, I wasn't really into it. But the more I watch it and the more I hear people talk about it, the more into it I am. And in fact, I'm going to pull up the trailer because it's very much an action game, like No More Heroes.
Yeah,
And I just need
totally.
to be reminded of what the gameplay looks like. Because I remember when I first saw it, I just wasn't really into it.
Right.
I
think for me,
you go ahead.
yeah, I think for me, I was way more, like, not way more into it, but super into it from the jump. Mostly because, like, I thought the concept behind it all was really cool, and, like, the art style kind of drew me in. Yeah, I don't know. I have high hopes for this game. It looks really cool.
Yeah, that's a big thing for me is that this is another one where the art style is a bit too generic for me. But it does look like you'll be, like, jumping between, like, dimensions, like they say in the blurb. And they'll have different art styles. So, you know, I have to see more because this is another one of those games that just looks like it's not doing enough interesting to pull me in.
That makes sense.
But the combat does look fun. It kind of reminds me of Dead Rising a bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's releasing sometime next year.
Ooh.
Next, we got a game that I am very interested in. The first time I saw this trailer, I feel like I was kind of iffy on it. But then I watched it again. I was like, wait a minute. What am I talking about? This trailer was fire. Shimizu Hinako's perilous journey as the high schooler's hometown is engulfed in a fog, and the dangers within will have her fighting for her life. As a standalone spin-off, the game serves as an excellent introduction to the series. In the PlayStation blog, they say that the game features unique combat. The encounters are as challenging as the obstacles that Hinako must overcome in life. The combat will have a heavier focus on melee and be more action-oriented compared to last year's Silent Hill 2, which is very exciting and something I've been wanting from survival horror for a while, just one that is very melee combat focused.
Right, because I don't know, the guns kind of ruin it for me unless they make sense within the context of, like, the universe. I don't know. It's just like some survival horror games that have guns, it feels like they have guns because every other survival horror game before it had guns. And, like, sometimes it really takes me out of the narrative because I'm like, this person would definitely not know how to shoot a gun.
Yeah. What's fun about Resident Evil 7 is that the main character absolutely does not know how to shoot a gun. And it's shown in the way they shoot the gun. And it's part of, like, why, you know, the combat is so limited, despite the fact that you have multiple guns.
Yeah, it's like when they do it that way, I really, really like it. But when, like, off the jump, they're like, I found a gun, and then they're wielding it like they've wielded a gun before, I'm like, I'm kind of iffy on that.
Yeah, and in the trailer, we see Shimizu using a naginata, which is fun, and I'm interested to see what type of, you know, weapons we have other than, you know, the classic lead pipe that they've had since the first Silent Hill game. We'll probably have, like, a katana or something like that as well. If they have a whole pole arm, they're probably gonna have a sword.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, this launches September 25th, and I think that this game is gonna do its job for me, which is, you know, getting me into Silent Hill.
Mm.
Because if this game gets good reviews, I'll probably check it out, and it'll be the first Silent Hill game I play. And eventually, I'll play
Mm.
Silent Hill 2 remake because I wasn't planning on playing it at all, and then it got really, really good reviews, and I was like, I should probably play that game.
That
But
is a really good game.
next we have Bloodstained: The Scarlet Engagement. The 2.5D side-scrolling action RPG returns with a new dark chapter. Explore the massive ethereal castle as two new heroes, Leo and Alex, join forces to tackle its fearsome inhabitants. You'll be able to switch between the duo at the press of a button, leveraging each adventurer's distinct abilities in order to survive. This is a sequel to the Castlevania spiritual successor by former Castlevania producer Koji Igarashi. Um,
Mhm.
as the bigger Castlevania fan, have you played Bloodstained, and are you
I did.
excited for this?
I did play Bloodstained. I didn't really like it. I'm gonna be honest. I didn't really like it. I get why people like it, and I get it is definitely a very fine spiritual successor. It just wasn't for me.
Hmm.
This though, I have high hopes for, and I'm definitely going to at the very least try it. Like try it and see if I like it, and if not, that's okay. But again, I think it kind of like my biggest problem with like Bloodstained is the way that it controls mostly. It's like it feels very clunky compared to like the Castlevania games of that era that it's trying to emulate, which is it's fine, but like it made it a little frustrating to play.
Yeah, it's trying to
And I'm just hoping
specifically
that
emulate like Symphony of the Night.
yeah, which um does not have good controls like the original Symphony of the Night. It's terrible. Um they're like Symphony of the Night has a lot of issues control scheme wise, so it's like I'm hoping that this one, whichever game it's pulling inspiration from, it improves the control somewhat, and maybe I'll enjoy it a lot more than the original Bloodstained. We'll see.
Cool.
Visually, though, it looks
It
fantastic.
does have a fun art style. Next, we have Ninja Gaiden Ragebound, which also has a demo out right now. Ninja Gaiden Ragebound, the new spectacular side-scrolling entry to the acclaimed series, releases on July 31st on PS5 and PS4. Everywhere, really. Honoring the franchise's legacy. Ragebound modernizes the unforgiving action platforming formula with the fast-paced and exhilarating action the game kitchen Blasphemous 1 and 2 devs are known for. It still looks awesome, and it comes out very
For
soon.
sure.
And like I said, demo out right now. And this is a game that I'll be playing on my Switch when it comes out,
Makes sense.
which you'll be hearing a lot today. Because my Switch is going to be the main place where I play indie games and side scrollers. Next, we have Cairn. Climb like never before in survival climber Cairn, which ascends onto PS5 November 5th. Consider your path and climb anywhere on the mountain, managing your endurance and resources to survive. You'll be able to hone your skills and test palm strength early, as a demo launches on PlayStation today, which was last Thursday. So I downloaded the demo, have yet to play it. I keep confusing this game with Jusant, which is a climbing game that came out a few years ago. But I like the idea of a realistic climbing game, and hopefully I like playing this. It looks cool.
Mm-hmm.
Next, we have Metal Gear Solid Delta Snake Eater. Today's trailer offered a closer look at how this remake has approached the fearsome adversaries that Naked Snake will face on his mission, the Cobra Unit. The new footage doesn't just linger on the high-stakes action you'll face during the story campaign, though. Konami also shares gameplay of Snake vs. Monkey, which is also making its return when the game launches on PS5 this August 28th. So yeah, we got to look at the Ape Escape game mode, where you search for and capture apes as Naked Snake. That's his name. He's not actually naked, unless you wear his shirtless outfit.
Yeah.
We also get a tease of what looks like it could be Metal Gear Online, which was Metal Gear's multiplayer mode, which is exciting because I never got a chance to play that when I was playing like Metal Gear Solid 4, which also had Metal Gear Online. So my biggest complaint with the art direction of this game is that it's too bright. They show a glimpse of the Fury boss fight, and the arena is way too illuminated. And I want to hope that on the final release, it's like not this weirdly bright. But I also know they have
Right.
the option in settings to make the game look like, in terms of what do you call it, color value, the original game, which was kind of more yellow in tone. It had that
Right.
it had that piss filter
Yeah.
that a lot of like PS3 games had, but this was a PS2 game.
It was the pioneer.
And it just it's a very nostalgic look that without it it loses some of its character. So I'm gonna play it the way they intend first, this version of the game we played. But when I play it again, because of course I'll play it again, I'm gonna use the piss filter.
As you should.
But I also unlocked a newfound fear regarding this remake. I'm afraid that it won't do well because it's not being treated like a brand new game for new players. It's not being advertised in the same way Capcom advertises the Resident Evil remakes, for example. It's being treated more like a remaster, which it is closer to because they didn't change too much, which you've heard me complain about.
Right.
But ultimately, it still is a remake. But it not being different enough could also result in not enough people playing or liking it to warrant Konami making more remakes.
Right.
You know, I want to hope that the existing fan base is big enough to make this profitable and convince Konami that we want more. But I'm a little afraid that they're just not doing enough to bring in the new fans like they claim they are.
Right.
Are you interested in playing it at all?
I definitely am. But no buts. I just am. Like I said, I'm still struggling through the first 3 games in the Master Collection. That has been a fight. I haven't turned back to them in a long time, so I might go back soon to prep myself for this, even though it's going to be a completely different experience. But it does interest me quite a lot, and it looks really good. I do agree with you on it being way too bright. It sucks a lot of the charm out of it, unfortunately, which kind of turned me off. But I'm like, if there's a setting, it should be fine.
Yeah, you just gotta cut on that piss filter. Next we have Nioh 3. Koei Tecmo and developer Team Ninja announced Nioh 3 for PS5. In this dark fantasy action RPG, players can fight using 2 distinct combat styles, Samurai and Ninja. The Samurai style provides a gameplay experience similar to previous Nioh titles, while Ninja style excels in quick movements like dodging and aerial actions. Players will be able to switch between battle styles instantly at any time. Intrigued to know how they'll work, you can find out today with a limited time demo, of course, last Thursday, that'll be launching on PlayStation Store. Another sentence. Another demo that I downloaded but have yet to play. The new Ninja style makes the combat look more up my alley, so I'm excited to try it out. It's making it quicker because I feel like Nioh is Souls light, where it's like Souls adjacent, but it's like also very different in a lot of ways. And I feel like it's part of the reason why I was afraid of them making a Metal Gear Solid 4. Luckily, they teamed up with Metal Gear Solid. I meant Ninja Gaiden 4, but luckily they teamed up with Platinum, and that's getting the hack and slash treatment it deserves. And it's not like Nioh, but Nioh seems like it's injecting some of that Ninja Gaiden hack and slash style into it. So maybe this one will be more of my alley than the first two. What were your thoughts on Nioh 3?
I haven't thought about the Nioh games in actual decades, so to see a new one come out is very refreshing. I haven't played 1 or 2, but this has kind of been I've always wanted to, so this is kind of the kick in the pants to actually get into it like I have intentions to. And I don't know, it's very beautiful. It's a very beautiful game already, and I'm really excited for it to come out.
Yeah, this releases sometime next year in 2026.
2026. It's crazy to me, right? Because it's we're halfway into the year already, right? But at the same time, 2026 is so far away, but so close at the same time, and it's insane.
Yeah. Next, we saw Sea of Remnants. Meet a world of puppet folk exploring the open sea and its secrets in oceanic action RPG Sea of Remnants, which sets sail for PS5. Form a specialized crew to answer any challenge that lies beyond the horizon. Upgrade your ship to ride out any storm and return home with your spoils to Orbtopia, Orbtopia, a pirate city that will explore based on your swashbuckling decisions, or that will evolve based on your swashbuckling decisions. Or you might find familiar tags to explain the gameplay within, such as ocean adventure RPG / simulation / survival building / turn-based strategy. We'd rather introduce it with this single line. This is an infinite voyage looping between death and rebirth, a journey where we rode forward tirelessly only to return to where it all began. This game has a really cool art style, and for some reason, it's giving me the vibe that it could end up being a sleeper hit turn-based game like Clay Obscure. My only fear is that this game may be attempting to do too much, because it seems like you'll be able to build a fleet of ships, sail the sea, raid ships, and explore islands. Plus, it'll have multiplayer, and I'm like, maybe it doesn't do it too much, but it looks cool, and I hope it actually succeeds in doing all of those things.
Me too. Especially with the multiplayer, because I feel like that would be really, really fun to do if they can pull it off and make it look good.
Yeah, it sounds like
not make it look good, but
yeah, it sounds like a RPG Sea of Thieves kind of.
Which is exciting.
Yeah. Next, we have Sword of the Sea. Giant Squid is bringing its exhilarating mythic surfing adventure Sword of the Sea to PS5 on August 19th. With the game releasing as part of that month's PlayStation Plus game catalog lineup. In Sword of the Sea, movement itself is a joy, drawing inspiration from classic skating and snowboarding games of the past, and merging that with our signature environmental design and atmospheric narrative style has resulted in a mythic surfing adventure unlike anything else. As the Wraith journeys across the desolate necropolis, you explore skate park-like ruins full of ramps, wall rides, and secrets. Uncover the mysteries of this land, and you will be able to revive the magical sea life that once inhabited the waves. Transform the sandy dunes into emerald oceans, and forgotten temples will come alive with fish and beautiful kelp forests, allowing you to reach new heights as you glide upwards through the leaves. Everything about this game sounds and looks awesome.
It does.
It's basically like a skateboarding journey, which is really cool.
You're on a sword. That's sick.
Yeah, exactly. A swordboarding journey.
Swordboard.
Yeah, it looks very fun. This is the studio that also made The Pathless, which was like a PS5 launch game where you're like an archer running through a forest. And every time I see games from these devs, I'm like, we talk about how not all superhero games needs to be AAA. This dev would make an incredible Flash game.
Ooh, true.
Just a smaller Flash game made by this team would be great. Next, we have 007 First Light. IO Interactive's third-person action-adventure game 007 First Light unveils a new James Bond origin story. Discover the events that led a young maverick to become the best MI6 agent and the world's most iconic spy when the game launches on PS5 next year. This looks cool, but some people aren't liking the way it looks. Saying it doesn't look AAA enough, but that's what I like about it. There's that quote saying, "I want shorter games with worse graphics made by people who are paid more to work less," and I'm not kidding.
Yeah.
This still looks like a AAA game, but it has a unique look and style that I like a lot. We didn't see much gameplay, but in interviews after the reveal, they did say that it essentially will be like Hitman, but with the option to go loud and with big action set pieces. And a lot of people are looking at, and based on the trailer, kind of comparing it to Uncharted in terms of like the set pieces, which makes sense for a James Bond game.
It did feel very Uncharted to me, yeah.
And we just don't get a lot of games like that nowadays. Just big blockbuster movie style games like Uncharted. And
like it fits the vibe of James Bond perfectly, I think, being this like it looks AAA but not like super AAA, and then like also this like Uncharted-esque. I don't know. I really, really like the vibe they're going for.
And I'm a big 007 fan. I've been slowly going through the movies, starting from the beginning. I've gotten through the original actors' movies, and I'm the next movie I have to watch is the first. I forget his first name, but the first more James Bond movie. So I'm excited to eventually get back to watching those. Which I realized in this trailer they say Amazon MGM Grand. MGM. What's the last part of that? Is it Grand or Grand or something like that?
I think I think so.
Because Amazon like owns that company now.
Right.
And that's why all of the James Bond movies are on Amazon Prime.
Mm-hmm.
But next we have Ghost of Yotei. Kinda.
Yes.
Sucker Punch will guide you through an extended look at new and evolved gameplay mechanics, including exploration, combat, and much more. Mark your calendar. The episode airs this July. I don't understand why they decided to show absolutely nothing. The game comes out later this year. They could have given us more.
Right.
They could have given us a short trailer. But it was just the main character and then their wolf companion walking to a village and then more coming soon. It's like, okay. You should have showed nothing if you were going to do this.
Right.
But we're going to get a lot next month, so that's cool.
Yeah.
And
it's like, don't get my hopes up.
Yeah, especially I know you're excited for this because you finished
very much so
the original recently. I don't know if you finished the DLC,
yep.
or I think you said you finished DLC before you finished the main story.
Yes, we did, and it was a little insane, but enjoyed every minute of it.
Yeah, I'm excited for this. I've only played through. I did start a second playthrough a while ago, but I abandoned it partway through. And like, yeah, I'm excited for the second game. I need more of that game in my life, and I hope they enhance the stealth.
Sure.
The stealth was kind of lacking, and I hope they do a little bit better with that.
Yeah, it was very cool conceptually, but that was it. It only had the conceptually cool.
It was
like
very much.
They didn't really apply it.
It was very much like, I mean, this game in a lot of ways, the Ghost of Tsushima was Assassin's Creed in Japan before Assassin's Creed did it. But it also kind of didn't do stealth very well in the same way that most Assassin's Creed games do. I'd say that the Assassin's Creed Shadows does stealth better than Ghost of Tsushima.
Yeah.
But I would say as a whole package, I prefer Ghost of Tsushima though. But to end off the PlayStation State of Play, we got Marvel Tokon Fighting Souls, which is a wild name because I learned that Tokon means Fighting Souls. So they could have just called it Marvel Fighting Souls. They didn't need the Tokon part. Or they could have just called it Marvel Tokon. But Fighting Souls, of course, makes more sense because it's a fighting game. It's a weird title. Why did they do that?
It's a very weird title. It's a very weird title, but I kind of rock with it. It reminds me of the old Dragon Ball fighting games and how those were titled.
But at least Budokai Tenkaichi is the name of the tournament in the show.
Is that how you say it?
Yeah, Budokai Tenkaichi. It's Battle Under the Heavens.
I see. Because, okay, the whole reason I said the Dragon Ball fighting games and not their name specifically is because I grew up with those fighting games. Like, they are a fundamental part of my childhood because my mom loved Dragon Ball Z, or Dragon Ball in general, right? I had never known how to say them. I would butcher it every single time. I feel vindicted now that I know.
That's hilarious. PlayStation Studios, Arc System Works, and Marvel Games have joined forces to realize the latest in tag team fighters, Marvel Tokon Fighting Souls. Experience the Marvel Universe like never before with reimagined characters and stages, a heart-pounding soundtrack, innovative gameplay mechanics, and jaw-dropping visuals that will keep you on the edge of your seat. Whether this is your first fighting game or you're a veteran of the genre, Arc has incorporated gameplay controls and mechanics that are easy to pick up and play, and yet still offer the depth and versatility for high-level competition. It's a 4v4 tag fighting game that's a spiritual successor to Marvel vs. Capcom, and the next game people presumed would be called Marvel vs. Capcom 4. Coincidence? I think not. No, it is coincidence. But, well, kind of, because obviously this is heavily inspired by Marvel vs. Capcom, because it's a Marvel fighting game.
Right.
This was incredibly surprising. Nobody could have seen this coming in 1,000 years. But it looks awesome.
Definitely not.
I've been wanting a Marvel-only fighting game for years, and I, of course, thought it was going to come from Capcom like everybody else, because The first, I think, the first Marvel fighting game they made, I think, was like an X-Men game. But they made Marvel Superheroes, which was a Marvel only fighting game, but there was only one of those, I think. And then they started making Marvel vs. Capcom. What they made was X-Men vs. Street Fighter, then Marvel vs. Capcom, and then 2, 3, Infinite. Infinite was ass. And that's probably why Marvel isn't making the game with Capcom anymore, even though it was Marvel's fault that it was ass. Because they just got too involved, and the game ended up bad as a result. But yeah, this looks awesome, and Marvel specifically encouraged ArcSys to design everything the way that they want it versus trying to like essentially copy what the characters look like exactly in the games. And that's why it looks so unique and so much like an Arc System Works game, because that's what they wanted. They wanted this to be an Arc System Works fighting game. They didn't just want it to be a generic Marvel fighting game. And as a result, it looks real cool, and it's definitely going to pull a lot of people in due to just that anime art style. I'm not usually into these types of fighting games because it's just too much shit on screen at once. And this one is going to have more of that because it's 4v4 instead of 3v3 or 2v2. Like 3v3 is what Marvel vs. Capcom does. They added one more to that. And it's just going to be a bunch of shit on screen. Especially
because it's ArcSys.
Yeah, they found ways to simplify it. After the trailer, they had a little mini documentary going over like how this came to be, and essentially PlayStation went to ArcSys and said, "Hey, would you like to make a Marvel fighting game?" And they said, "Yes, of course." And then they both went to, did I say Marvel? I meant PlayStation went to ArcSys and asked them if they wanted to make a Marvel fighting game, and ArcSys said, "Yes, of course." And then they both went to Marvel. And Marvel agreed because you PlayStation, who made the Spider-Man games, and then they went to a renowned fighting game studio, came up to Marvel and was just like, "We want to make a fighting game." So Marvel was like, "Of course." And yeah,
absolutely.
This is the result, and it looks awesome. With this, we are one step closer to Marvel versus Shonen Jump, since ArcSys made Dragon Ball FighterZ and already has a relationship with Shonen Jump. Some people have said Marvel versus Dragon Ball, but let's be real, that would be boring as hell. Don't get me wrong, I love Dragon Ball. We were just talking about Dragon Ball. Dragon Ball's great, but even in Dragon Ball FighterZ, which a lot of people love, and it's a good game from out here, I haven't had a chance to play it myself, there is a certain level of uniformity to the way they fight. Like most anime fighting games like that, but Dragon Ball FighterZ is one of the better anime fighting games where they actually make each character unique. But even to an extent, they're still very similar from what I've heard. And that's kind of just the nature of Dragon Ball to an extent, because all the characters have the same power set. So there's only so much you can do. And of course, the talented game developers like ArcSys could make them even more unique than they already did in Dragon Ball FighterZ. But it'll just get to a point to where you're just like making them too different, and it doesn't feel like Dragon Ball anymore. And it will work better to just have a bunch of different characters with different, powers from across the entirety of Shonen Jump. But that's me, speculating on something that might not even happen, but it would be cool if it did happen. But the characters we saw in this trailer were Iron Man, Captain America, Miss Marvel, Spider-Man, Star-Lord, Ghost Rider, not Jaime Reyes. Jaime Reyes is Blue Beetle. I can't remember his name. I never remember his name. I think his last name's Reyes, though. The newest Ghost Rider. Doctor Doom and Storm.
Oh, okay.
And yeah, it looks awesome. It looks great. I'm excited to see more. It comes out next year. When next year, we don't know. But, we'll probably be getting a lot more soon. So I'm excited. PlayStation also announced a fight stick. Today's State of Play revealed the first wireless fight stick custom designed by PlayStation, codenamed Project Defiant. This new controller allows wireless play through PlayStation Link or wired connection on PS5 or PC, and it's set to launch next year. And it's clear that this game is a big reason why they released this. Because, fight sticks are made for playing fighting games.
Right.
And I'm curious if this could also be used with regular games, because I could see this being a good accessibility controller for some people because of the big buttons
For
and
sure.
the huge joystick. Which PlayStation already has an accessibility controller that when I first saw, I thought that would probably be good for playing fighting games, but people shouldn't buy that for playing fighting games because people, it's like, make sure the people who actually need it can get it. But now they have an actual fight stick, so people don't have to do that, which they didn't. But um, yeah, this game looks cool. There's not
It
much more to
does.
say
It
than
does.
it looks cool, and we'll have to wait to see more. So next we have the Summer Games Fest, starting with Atomic Heart 2. In this utopian world of science and technology, humans lived in harmony with their loyal and fervent robots. Unfortunately, what was meant to bring about an era of peace and prosperity at the hands of advanced robotics and AI has now spiraled into chaos. Atomic Heart 2 picks up with a world on the brink of collapse. It's up to the player to prevent it. However, beware as the truth runs deeper than anyone may realize. This game looks like one of those too good to be true games. Um,
Mm-hmm.
but because it's a sequel to a successful game, I'm more inclined to believe that it's real. Um,
Right.
if the game is anything like this trailer, I'll be way more interested in this game than the first one because this looks
Right.
way more fun. Uh,
Because like the first game definitely like I don't know, it just leaned too heavily into the like we have hot robot girls angle, and then it had no substance.
oh well, this game is also doing that. This game has a lot of ass in the trailer.
What's cooler
this,
about it?
this
It's got ass in the trailer in the way Nier Automata has ass in the trailer, where it's like the ass is the focal point, but there's also a good backdrop for it. You know?
definitely good backdrop. Anyway, um, I'm gonna read a little blurb from Justin Wagner at PC Gamer. There's no party like an apocalypse, and though Atomic Heart might not have been a perfect game, it certainly held a zany lens up to the world's end with what reviewer Rich Stanton identified as Russian Westworld vibes. If you weren't taken with its Bioshocky aesthetic palette, though, you might want to take a peek at the trailer that just dropped for Atomic Heart 2. It's a mad dash from mood to mood that has me wondering if I shouldn't have skipped the first one. The teaser is light on gameplay, but it's all over the place in a way I kind of dug. 1 second, bulbous ATVs are speeding over a beach, and the next, we're in a cyberpunky nightclub where shady deals are going down. In the gunfighting snippets they do show, there's all sorts of wall running, telekinetic nonsense that feels appropriately explosive for a game evoking the atomic age. There's also a bit where a giant needle gets poked into a huge flesh monster, so I'm not worried it won't be as weird as the first. Yeah, they look cool in terms of the like hints at gameplay that we saw. There was with the wall running and all the various weapons.
Mm.
And it seems like they're leaning more RPG this time around, which is cool.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Yeah.
like I'm hoping it'll be something like Cyberpunk 2077. But
Me too.
we'll have to see. Next, we got a new trailer for Marvel Cosmic Invasion. Check out She-Hulk and Rocket Raccoon, the two new characters added to the roster in this reveal trailer for Cosmic Invasion. The side-scrolling beat-em-up from .emu and Tribute Games fight against the deadly annihilation wave threatening the galaxy. From New York to the depths of the negative zone, the future of the Marvel Universe will be fought for across the stars. Yeah, this game continues to look awesome. I love the beat 'em up
Mm-hmm.
boom that we're in, and it's and this even isn't even the last beat 'em up that we see at Summer Games Fest, or the last beat 'em up from Tribute Games that we see at Summer Games Fest, which we'll talk about that later. But what do you think of Cosmic Invasion as a beat 'em up fan that I know you are?
I love the art style. I love the art style so much, and I just know that like usually with a beat 'em up, if they have like a good art style, they make it work in the beat 'em up genre. The game itself is going to be really really good, and I have very very high hopes. And also like Marvel beat 'em ups are just like it feels natural, like a natural. I don't know how to explain like my thoughts here, but it's like it's a natural medium for a Marvel game to be in. Like if not a fighting game, then totally a beat 'em up. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, despite the fact that they're also canceling a bunch of games, like the Black Panther game, which we'll have to save for next week,
Ooh.
because we just don't have time to talk about it this week. Uh,
Mhm.
they're also releasing a bunch of cool, unique games with interesting art styles that aren't just realistic, like the Spider-Man games with Marvel Rivals, the upcoming Marvel Tokon Fighting Souls, and this Cosmic Invasion. So next we have Onimusha Way of the Sword. Fire through blood-stained battlefields of intense swordplay action. Explore the historic Japan or Japanese capital of Edo era Kyoto, twisted by malevolent clouds of malice, with every stage cloaked in mystery, danger, and intrigue. Battle against monstrosities from the underworld known as Genma, and a tale of dark fantasy. Follow the tale of a samurai who wields the Oni Gauntlet, a mystical artifact that grants his bearer the power to slay Genma. Through gritty, blood-soaked brawls, he searches for his reason to fight, what fate awaits at the end of his path. So, I've always heard Onimusha described as Resident Evil, but with swords. And I hope that that's exactly what this is. The story...
Yeah, because that's what it's...
Go ahead.
Oh, no, go ahead. I was just going to say that's what it looks like it's shaping up to be.
Yeah. The story and world looks fun, but I'm not completely sold on the combat yet. I need to see more of it or to just play it myself. But it looks like it'll be a good game. And, you know, this is a franchise I've been wanting to get like a remake or a new game just so that I could finally check it out. So I'm glad this is
because like Loki,
coming around.
I never knew when to start. Like I kind of knew because I think the sequels are numbered, but it's like I don't know. I never really like thought. How do I explain? Like for Onimusha, like I've always known that it's existed vaguely, but never really thought about getting into it until now that I'm older. You know.
Yeah, it's set to release sometime next year. We don't know when exactly, but based on the release of another Capcom game coming out next year, probably not February.
Yeah.
Next, we have Felt That Boxing. Felt That Boxing is a comedic boxing game set in a world where the charm of furry puppets collides with the fury of boxing. Step into the shoes of Ezra Fuzzy Wright, an unlikely hero with a big heart. His quest? Battle his way through the torment of a million punches to save an orphanage. This trailer was hilarious. It was really funny, and it was not what I was expecting it to be when I first saw it. When you first see it, it's like, okay. When Jeff Keighley teed it up, it was like, okay, a felt puppet game. That sounds interesting. And then you see it. And first off, it looks real. They just look like real puppets, but it's all CG, every bit of it.
Really? It is?
Yes, all of it is CG.
That's crazy.
And then the comedy was way more mature than I was expecting it to be, with a lot of cursing. And it's very much like a bit of a Rocky parody, which is really funny. And in terms of gameplay, it will be a Punch-Out style arcade boxing game, with a ton of wacky mini games in between, like plunging toilets. Yeah, it looks really fun.
I love that the puppets are Jim Henson inspired without directly being Jim Henson clones. I really, really like that. I think that was my favorite part of this whole trailer. Because I'm like, I could definitely plausibly see these puppets on the Muppets, but they're not like one-to-one Muppets like a lot of like puppet-based media tries to do, if that makes sense. Like they have their own charm to them.
Yeah, no, I get that. Next we have a game that I'm excited to play the demo for, Mina the Hollower. We took the stage at Summer Games Fest today to unveil a world premiere for our upcoming game, Mina the Hollower. The trailer featured fast-paced, combat-driven gameplay, and concluded with the surprise launch of a limited-time demo. Leaning into Mina's gothic horror roots, the top-down action-adventure game is set to release on October 31st. It's the first official chance to hollow into Mina's bizarre world, full of monsters and mystery. The demo will also participate in Steam Next Fest from June 9th to 16th. It'll feature the game's opening stage and conclude with the first major boss. Progress made in the demo will carry over to the full game at launch. The demo will be removed after Steam Next Fest, so don't miss your chance to delve in. This might be the only demo I actually end up playing. Because there's a bunch of demos, but the Switch just came out, and I also have other games to play. So it's like last night, yesterday I got the Switch 2 editions of Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom, and I started playing Breath of the Wild.
Banger.
So after I'm done with Clair Obscur, it's straight to Breath of the Wild, because I was having a good time. So yeah, this probably will be the only demo I'll play of the sea of demos that I've already said, and that I'll mention more of that are coming from Steam Next Fest.
Right. Now, the whole time I was watching the trailer, I was like, this feels so much like Shovel Knight. And then it was like, from the creators of Shovel Knight. And I'm like, Makes sense. But it's like they've branched out from their usual like NES style sprites. This feels more like Link's Awakening, Oracle of Seasons, Oracle of like Ages era Zelda, which is my favorite. So trust, this will be purchased launch day.
Yeah, it looks cool. It's another one of those games that I'm definitely going to play on my Switch. Next, we have Mixtape. On their last night together, three friends embark on one final adventure. Played through a mixtape of memories, set to the soundtrack of a generation. En route to their final party together, a perfectly curated playlist draws three friends into dreamlike reenactments of their formative memories. Experience a variety of narrative vignettes exploring the pivotal moments that shaped them. Players will immerse themselves in the teenage wasteland by playing through a mixtape of joyful gameplay, from skateboarding and flying to taking photos after hours at an abandoned theme park, hitting baseballs and putting on a fireworks show from the backseat of a car. It's the greatest hits of the teenage experience, from the first kiss to the last dance, featuring music from Devo, Roxy Music, Lush, The Smashing Pumpkins, Iggy Pop, Susie, and the Banshees, Joy Division, The Cure, and many, many more. Developed by Beethoven and Dinosaur, and published by Annapurna Interactive, which I think Annapurna doesn't exist anymore. But
Is it not?
I think so. I can't remember. Something happened to Annapurna recently. I don't remember what exactly. But everyone who has gotten hands-on with Mixtape likens it to the first Life is Strange in terms of like tone and vibe, which sounds promising. But you do more than solve puzzles and make decisions. You also do things like skateboard and ride shopping carts downhill. So there's more interaction than a Life is Strange game usually has, which is cool. Another game with a unique art style, which I'm always fan of, and it looks like it'll be fun. Next we have Acts of Blood. Acts of Blood is a beat 'em up action third person game which focuses on fast paced, brutal hand to hand combat set in the dystopian city of Bandung, Indonesia. This looks heavily Sifu inspired, and hopefully it's just as good. I need more Sifu in my life, but they're making Fifu now. That's not what it's called, but it's a soccer game. And people are calling it Fifu. It's called Rematch, and it's a 5v5 soccer game where you play as one individual soccer player versus playing as the whole team. And there's like their goal is to like make it like super interactive in terms of you being able to control all the movements. Like you can't just hit a button and it automatically passes the ball to another character. You have to aim the ball. Like it's a very in-depth soccer game, and people who've played it have had a lot of fun with it. I'll probably try it out eventually. It's not out yet, but there was like early access not too long ago.
Oh, gotcha.
But yeah, this looks like this will actually be like a spiritual successor to Sifu, which is I do hope we do get an actual sequel, or at least another action game from that studio eventually. But this will do for now, and this looks like it'll be really good as well. Next, we have Scott Pilgrim EX. Join Scott Pilgrim and Ramona Flowers in a brand new brawling adventure across space, time, and the streets of Toronto. Scott Pilgrim EX is an action-adventure game where the players can fight as Scott Pilgrim, Ramona Flowers, and more as they battle through the fractured time and space of Toronto. The combat gameplay is driven by instinct and improvisation. A hectic ballet of fist and flair that reward strategy, spontaneity, and a good bit of brawling chaos. String together stylish combos, experiment with wacky weapons, and unleash over-the-top special attacks. Characters can be upgraded with special badges that enhance their stats and grant special bonuses. Players will explore a whole city of interconnected levels to meet old and new faces, complete quests, and discover hidden areas. Multiplayer co-op, local or online, lets up to 4 players join in on the action, making it a fun, dynamic experience. And according to co-writer on Scott Pilgrim Takes Off and creative partner on the game, Ben David Grabinski, this is technically a sequel to the Netflix anime, Scott Pilgrim Takes Off.
Oh,
so
banger.
Yeah, I know you're a fan of the first game. And of course, as I said before,
very much so.
A beat 'em up fan, and this is by Tribute Games and Dadimu. What did you think?
So, from the jump, from the moment you sent me the trailer, I was like, yes, this is exactly what I wanted. Because the whole time I watched Scott Pilgrim Takes Off, I was like, a game in the style of Scott Pilgrim versus the World, the movie, the game, but with like this art style and this storyline would be a banger, and then they went and they did it, and now like I have never been more excited for a video game in my life. Like it looks fantastic. I love that like the art style for the actual gameplay itself has evolved just enough to be different, but it still harkens back to like the old one, and it's like I don't know, I'm just really excited.
Yeah, it looks good. It looks good. I'm excited as well.
Very good, very good.
Next, we have Blighted. Battle your way through a psychedelic Western nightmare to reclaim the memory of your people in Blighted. An action RPG from the creators of Guacamelee and Nobody Saves the World. Harness the power of the deadly reality-altering blight and unravel the mystery of a twisted world. So the devs visited Easy Allies and gave them an extended look at the game that can be found on YouTube, and it looks awesome. And the story is about this, like, it's a world where when people die, they take their brains and plant them, and they sprout trees, and those trees bore fruit that hold that person's memories. So you can eat fruits from a dead person's brain, the tree that sprouts from a dead person's brain, and experience their memories. And the main villain starts murdering people and eating their brains and growing more powerful. And they destroy the entirety of the main character's village and eats everybody's brains. And now you're chasing after this villain for revenge, and in the process defeating like his lieutenants and eating their brains so that you could find out where the villain is. Yeah, it's a very interesting story. And in terms of gameplay, it's basically a isometric Metroidvania Souls-like, and that sounds cool. It also sounds like
very cool.
The perfect Castlevania game.
For sure.
Have there been any isometric Castlevania games? Because if there hasn't, there should be.
I don't think so. Not directly off top. I don't think so. But yeah, no. I the closest thing I can think of is like Castlevania 64, which was kind of 3D. It was weird. Kind of a black sheep of the family. But yeah, no, we haven't gotten any isometric Castlevania games, and I think that this will like scratch that itch, because I feel like the kind of isometric look would really, really fit Castlevania. But I love everything that this is doing and more. Mostly because of the world building. Like that is such a fascinating concept to me, and it's like the way like this world handles death and whatnot. It's really cool, and I really like the art style too.
Yeah. Next, we got a really weird reveal trailer for Season 3 of Street Fighter 6 with pro wrestler Kenny Omega dressing as the revealed characters before we got a glimpse at gameplay for Sagat, who will be the first character releasing this summer. The season also includes Alex, Ingrid, and Sea Viper. Sea Viper is a character I've been wanting back for years. She was first introduced in the first Street Fighter I ever played, Street Fighter 4, back in 2008. So it's been a long time coming, and I'm excited to see Sea Viper make a return. And we finally get a third strike character with Alex. And I'm going to need my boy Sean. I'm waiting. We'll see how many seasons this game can have. It might not even have. This might be the last season. Who knows? Well, Street Fighter 5 had a lot of seasons, so it might have like 6 seasons before they're done with it. Mm-hmm. Next, we have Wu-Tang: Rise of the Deceiver. To save their home of Shaolin, the Wu-Tang clan must pass their fantastical powers to a new generation of warriors. You've been called to battle back the forces of an invading, corrupting force, the Deceiver. You and your friends will fight alongside the Wu-Tang clan, calling on their powerful skills and timeless wisdom to restore Shaolin to a beacon of hope, community, and prosperity. Wu-Tang: Rise of the Deceiver was initially conceived as a tie-in to Angel of Dust, an upcoming supernatural thriller produced by Ghostface Killah, to be directed by RZA under AOD Films. So yeah, Wu-Tang has had a game before. This isn't the first Wu-Tang game, but we're getting another, and it looks cool. It looks like it'll be.
It looks really cool.
Yeah, it looks like it'll be a fun action game. Very random, but I like Wu-Tang. One of my favorite.
Yeah, it's like I'm not mad
just group of rappers in general, and it'll have a lot of music from them. So I'm excited for that. Next, we got Stranger Than Heaven. The official title of Ryu ga Gotaku's Studios Project Century, announced at the Game Awards 2024. This title reveal teaser trailer offers another glimpse into the game's world. Stranger Than Heaven is a brand new title developed by the studio whose name I'm not going to say again because I can barely pronounce it. Known for creating acclaimed series such as Yakuza and Virtua Fighter. This feels like it could be very different from Yakuza. Because those games aren't really my style. So this could be my first RPG game. And in terms of the bit of story that we see in the trailer, the main character seems to be mixed with white and Japanese and has blue eyes and is having an identity crisis very similar to the main character of Blue Eyed Samurai. Which have you seen? Have you watched Blue Eyed Samurai?
I watched part of it. I need to finish it.
Blue Eyed Samurai is really good. And it takes place, I think, in like 1940s Japan.
1943.
Yeah. So yeah, it looks cool.
It's kind of like if you took LA, like all the things I like about LA Noire and all the things I like about Yakuza and kind of put them into a game together, which I think is really fascinating.
That exists. It's called Sleeping Dogs.
Oh, see, I know of Sleeping Dogs. I didn't know anything about it though. Now that I know that though, it will be played.
Well, next we have the final game shown at the Summer Games Fest. Resident Evil Requiem, aka Resident Evil 9. And they did the most annoying fake out on the face of the planet Earth. It was clear that they were lying because they had the voice actress who plays Lady Dimitrescu dress up and record like a whole, like in a set, like a very well produced video advertising a huge Resident Evil franchise or Capcom sale, not even just Resident Evil. And it's like, there's no fucking way they had her dress up like that just for that. There's also a game coming.
Right.
But the goddamn producer came out and said, nope. Well, we're working on Resident Evil 9. He said that. But we'll tell you more at a later date. And then, of course, at the very end, they showed it. And it was clear as day what it was from the beginning. Because the RE engine has such a specific look. The moment you see a character's face and you see hair, that's how you know it's the RE engine. Because I saw that character's face. Sure. She turned around and I saw her hair and I was like, this is Resident Evil. If it's not Resident Evil, it's a Capcom game, at the very least. But of course it was Resident Evil.
It's like the colors and all of it. Like, yeah.
Yeah. So it looks like we'll be returning to Raccoon City after the bombing that took place in Resident Evils 2 and 3. And the game releases relatively soon on February 27th. The reason I said Onimusha definitely isn't coming out early next year. It's coming out probably like mid next year. So what did you think of the trailer?
I thought the trailer was really neat. Like you said, as soon as it started, I was like, oh yeah, that's totally Resident Evil. I mean, it was in the title when you sent it to me, but like I can see why there was like no minced words or anything like when it came to like watching it in the actual Game Awards. My only thing is I don't like the title. I get how it fits thematically, but I wish I was like spitballing like what a Resi 9 would be called with like Sean and Christian in the office the other day, and we had come up with some banger ideas, and I'm a little disappointed that they did not, like, I don't know, I just feel like there could have been some better wordplay than Requiem, but it fits thematically.
Yeah, I think that's because, I mean, it depends on what the story is going to be. They can't just make it a thing that just puns off of 9, but also they wanted to fit 9 in there somehow, just like they did with the last game, where it's like it's Resident Evil 8, but it's just called Resident Evil Village, but the VIL also looks like the Roman numeral for 8. And with this, the Q looks like a 9 sometimes.
Yeah, I guess they could have done something more clever, but it looks really good, and I'm kind of excited to play it.
But so some people got hands-on with the game at Summer Games Fest. It seems like what they were shown was the main character, who I need to look them up real quick. Grace Ashcroft, the main character of this game, or one of the main characters of this game. They're playing as her. There's a scene in the trailer where she's like upside down, attached to some type of machinery, and the game starts there, or at least this demo starts there, and you get off and you're sneaking around, and you start getting chased by this giant monster through this hospital, and a lot of people have described it as playing very similar to Alien Isolation. Also, it's first person, like Resident Evil 8 and
Ooh.
7. Um, but once they get towards the end of the demo, and was specifically a demo they didn't play. They showed them a demo, then they let them play it. And at the end of the part that they were just showing them, they went into the settings and then changed it to third person. So this game will have both first and third person, which of course
Banger.
was added in Resident Evil Village as an update late in its life cycle. So Resident Evil 8 wasn't made with that in mind from the beginning, but Resident Evil 9 seemingly has been. So it presumably won't be as janky as it was with Resident Evil 8. And from what people have seen, it already, is less janky.
Mm.
But also, they recommend in the settings which perspective to use for certain segments of the game. And in the demo they were playing, when they went to change it, it said recommended first person, which is cool. I hope that it's
Mhm.
easier to change than having to go into a menu. I hope it can be done with the press of a button.
Yeah,
Because
that would be really
I
cool.
feel like having to go into a menu to do it would just make it too cumbersome for me to care to do it every single time. I would just keep it third person and then play it a second time in first person. But if I could go back and forth,
Mm.
I would go back and forth all the time. Like I said, the people got hands on. And a lot of people, well, I was afraid after hearing about the game, from what Max Dude said, that it might end up being more of a run and hide horror game than
Ooh.
all the other Resident Evil games. I was like, I don't like those type of horror games. That's why I like Resident Evil, because it's not that. You shoot stuff. I like shooting things in my horror games. But like right before, or right after he showed the trailer, Jeff Keighley did say the game marks a bold shift for the franchise in both tone and gameplay. And today's reveal isn't just about survival horror. Expect high stakes cinematic action too. So there will still be the classic Resident Evil action. So it would be weird if it wasn't there. And
Yeah.
I was a little bit afraid of it, but never like really convinced that they would get rid of that. So Max Dude theorizes that we will likely play as multiple characters, and that Grace will have more stealth segments while other characters will be more action oriented. And
Right.
the Sphere Hunter theorizes that the main character was captured by, or was captured to be experimented on to create a cure to the many zombie viruses within the Resident Evil universe, because she's the daughter of a character from Resident Evil Outbreak, which is a game that where you can choose to play as various different characters during the outbreak in Raccoon City, and one of them is her mother. And this essentially, when you play the game, only one of the characters can survive, the one that you play as, and this is pretty much making it to where presumably her mother is the canon survivor of that game, and
God.
in the game she's infected but creates a cure, and maybe that cure has passed down to Grace, her daughter, and she's now being kidnapped to be used to make a cure, and now she has to be rescued by like Leon or Jill or both or something like that, because I don't imagine you go back to Resident Evil and you don't bring back the characters from, or go back to Raccoon City and don't bring back the characters in those original games that take place in Raccoon City. So either we're going to see, I think it's more, we've seen Crisol a lot lately. Chris showed up at the end of Resident Evil 7. And you can play as him in the DLC of Resident Evil 7. He shows up in Resident Evil 8, and you also play as him in Resident Evil 8. So I feel like it's either going to be Leon, Jill, or Claire, or all three, or all four with also Chris, because those are the four characters that were in Raccoon City.
Right.
And it would make sense. Whether or not you play as all of them, I don't know. But also Ada, and she's still alive, so whether or not you play as all of them, who knows? But they'll probably show up. And there's some other characters that were in Raccoon City that survived that could show up too. So yeah, there was also a rumor a while ago that we talked about that the next Resident Evil game would be open world or semi-open world, and this could be that, because we see a lot of sweeping shots of the city, making it feel like that they're hinting at the fact that you'll be exploring the bombed out Raccoon City, which would be cool.
Is exciting to think about.
Sphere Hunter also pointed out that Grace wears motorcycle boots, so maybe that's a mode of transportation in the game. I'm excited. The game comes out,
very excited,
like I said, relatively soon in February, early next year. We're halfway through this year, and they're probably going to show more in a couple of months, so I'm excited. And they always, something I love about Capcom, they love to release a demo So
Mm-hmm.
eventually we're going to be able to play it a couple months before the game comes out. I imagine late this year we'll probably get some hands on.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that's it for the summer game show. Next we have the future game show, their summer showcase. First we have the Expanse, Osiris Reborn.
Mm-hmm.
Take a look at the announcement trailer for the Expanse, Osiris Reborn, an upcoming sci-fi action RPG developed by Allcat Games. Players will be taken on an original story as a member of Pinkwater Security Mercenary at the wrong place at the wrong time. Make strategic decisions that influence the bonds between yourself and fellow squad mates. Engage in real-time strategic cover mechanics using various abilities and squad conditions, all while being immersed while traveling to iconic locations from the TV show and books. So I haven't seen the Expanse show or read the books, but this game looks
Mm-hmm.
cool.
It
It
does.
very easily could have been one of those games that have a pretty trailer, but it turns out to be some mobile game. But then they showed
Mm-hmm.
gameplay, and the gameplay looks exactly like what they showed in the cinematic.
It is a banger.
And it's giving Mass Effect vibes, which is very exciting.
Yeah, for
So
sure.
I hope this game is as good as it looks.
Mm-hmm.
Next we have Eriksholm. Join developer River End Games for a deep dive into the story, world, and gameplay of Eriksholm, the Stolen Dream, in this latest trailer for the upcoming isometric narrative-driven stealth game. In Eriksholm, the Stolen Dream, when Hana's brother Herman disappears and the police begin to pursue him, her search sets off a chain of catastrophic events that will not only alter their lives, but also the destiny of the entire city. Join your allies outsmart relentless enemies and use your cunning to uncover the truth behind Herman's disappearance. Where greater powers are, where greater powers are at play than you ever imagined. So this game was made by a team of 16 devs, and one of them had a great quote saying, "If you have the right mix of people, then perhaps a small team can still make something really cool." And I think that games like
Mm-hmm.
Expedition 33 are a great example of that. And hopefully, this is too. And I like the concept of a stealth isometric puzzler. And, I hope
Me too.
to check this out when it releases.
For sure.
Another one of those Switch games. Hopefully it's on the Switch. I'm not
Mm-hmm.
sure if it is.
Mm-hmm.
Next, we have two Resident Evil like survival horror games. First, we have Phase Zero.
Mm-hmm.
A grotesque illness binds the town of Flint Peak. Two survivors try to escape with their lives as mysterious creatures roam the streets, face horrific monsters, solve puzzles, and escape the town in this classic survival horror. Can you make it till dawn? And we also have Ground Zero. Fight through post-apocalyptic South Korea in this retro survival horror. Uncover the truth behind the devastating meteor impact that left the country in ruins and turned every living organism into a terrifying monstrosity. That's an interesting origin of the apocalypse.
For
Fight,
sure.
fight, solve puzzles, upgrade gear, and make every bullet count. So yeah, these are two very RE like survival horror games. What did you think? I know that you're a big fan of was it Signalis, which is also a
I
very PS1 style survival horror game.
For sure. And that's I think why I like Ground Zero I think was definitely my favorite out of the two, mostly because of the Signalis like vibes. Speaking of, I platinumed it. It's my first game that I've ever done that.
Oh wow!
It was devastating. Yeah, devastating, very hard, but I did it. And it was nice. Everyone plays Signalis. But Ground Zero looks really, really interesting. And I really like the retro style. And I noticed we've been getting a lot of like horror games, or not horror games, but games in general that are like less like more towards like not Southeast Asia, but also that because you mentioned I forgot the name of the game, but it's like Indonesian. Like I'm glad that we're breaking away from kind of like the pattern of like all like not all games, but I noticed a good chunk of them usually like take place in Japan. So I'm glad to see like other set dressings, if that makes sense.
Yeah, we've been getting a lot of Korean game studios lately making some AAA games, and as well
Yeah.
as Chinese studios. And yeah, that other game that we were talking about, the Sifu like, is taking place in Indonesia. The game itself, I'm not sure where the developer
Mm-hmm.
is based. Well, the person whose like social media account is associated with it has a very Indonesian name, so
Yeah, that'll do it.
I would assume they're probably Indonesian. They're called Ixil team, the studio behind Acts of Blood. But next
Gotcha.
we have Hark the Ghoul, one of my favorite things shown at the Future Game Show.
Mm.
So Hark the Ghoul is a first-person exploration-focused indie Souls-like that combines freeform traversal and expressive combat in a charming, lore-rich world. It combines creative immersive sim problem-solving, Souls-like nonlinear exploration, and a melancholic and striking world. Explore the somber streets of Clogeric and the depths underneath. Find all sorts of useful equipment and cleverly combine their uses to make your own path through the world. So, there were problems with the live stream on YouTube for Future Game Show, and they kept
Mm-hmm.
rewinding or like skipping ahead. So I almost did not catch the name of this game, but I desperately went back searching for it when I went to a different because these showcases get streamed by the people who showcase it is, and then
Right.
it gets streamed by IGN and GameSpot. So I went to IGN's and I rewound it, and the IGN one played perfectly fine, and finally found the name
Mm.
because this game looks awesome. And I immediately was like, "Is this an immersive sim?" And I did not read this blurb until just now, so I didn't know that it was actually 100% officially an immersive sim. So that makes me even more
Right.
excited. It looks awesome. It's another one of those
It does.
PS1 style games from a visual standpoint.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, it looks awesome.
It does.
I'm excited to see more of this.
Reminds
Well,
me of
the demo is out now on Steam. If I have time to play it,
ooh.
probably not. But it looks cool, and I'll check it out eventually.
Mhm. Yeah.
What were you gonna say?
It reminds me of like a little bit of Gloomwood, but also a little bit of what's that game called? Not Heretic. Not Blood either. What is that game? I'm forgetting. I'm blanking on it. I don't know. I don't know. There was a game I was thinking of, and I can't remember what it was. Now, but lots of Gloomwood, a little bit of Blood. Now that I think about it and look at it more, I don't know. This seems very interesting to me. I might play it or the demo.
Yeah. So next we have Tenet of the Spark. Tenet of the Spark follows the story of Will, a boxer standing up to street gangs and the ghost of his past. Aiding him on his dangerous journey are the spirits of his ancestors, whose power he can channel as his consciousness slips back through the ages. Embrace the power of the Will's ancestors, including a frostbitten Viking, and an ancient Aztec warrior to gain the upper hand in battles. Solve puzzles or just explore another side of Tenet of the Spark's world in the blink of an eye. As you battle through deadly gangs and unravel the truth behind Will's unique abilities. So yeah, you essentially travel through time in the exact same area to solve puzzles. Like, also the main character is a black dude, but he has like a white Viking ancestor and an Aztec ancestor, which isn't like unrealistic,
Right.
but is very random and hilarious. And they
Very
make
interesting.
a joke
Yeah.
about it in the trailer. One of the developers, and yeah, like you'll be like going through an environment, and there's like a cargo container in the way, and then you transform into the Viking dude, and then he lifts like something that's in his world, and then you go back to the main world, and it's moved. So it looks really cool, and it's a very much an action game with a bit of puzzling and platforming. Looks really cool.
For
Yeah, I've
sure.
actually been following this game for a while. I came across it on I think Twitter. Um, yeah, it just looks like a very unique indie action game, and I'm excited to
Mm-hmm.
see more. Next, we have Crisol, Theater of Idols. Crisol Theater of Idols is a first person horror action game set in Hispania, a twisted version of Spain. Play as Gabriel, a soldier who uses blood as both weapon and lifeline. Explore the cursed island of Tormentosa, uncover dark secrets, and battle horrifying enemies. Will you survive? This is one of the games announced by Bloomhouse Games last year. Bloomhouse's new
Mm-hmm.
game publishing wing, and we see a lot more of it here. And I feel like last time I don't remember it being so action heavy. I don't think I
Right.
got that vibe from the trailer last year, but this has me a lot more excited because of that. All of
Mm-hmm.
the
It's
weapons
like
that the protagonist uses is charged by his blood, which results in some really gnarly reload animations. Like how in sniper rifles you have to pull back the
mm-hmm.
bolt to like release the shell. Um,
Mm-hmm.
he does that, but like stabs his hand into it and then pulls it back. It's very weird. It's very cool, but also disgusting.
Very, very cool. Yeah.
Wait,
It's like to I really, really enjoyed this reveal trailer, mostly because it was like it not to compare things to other things, but that's That's what we do best as humans. It's like if you took the aesthetic of Blasphemous, the gameplay of Bioshock, the old Bioshocks, not Infinite. We don't claim her.
Yes, that's exactly what it's like.
Yeah, like Bioshock, a little bit of Blasphemous, and then like a little bit of Parasite, which is one of my favorite games of all time. I don't know if I've told you.
Yeah, that Blasphemous plus Bioshock comparison is very apt. That's exactly what it reminds me of, and it looks really cool. I'm excited to see a lot more. And last but certainly not least, to wrap things up for the future game show, we have Ratatan. Ratatan is a rhythmic roguelike action game that combines rhythm games and side-scrolling action, with online co-op gameplay supporting up to 4 players. An intense battle unfolds with over 100 characters fighting in a massive melee. Let's defeat the enemies together. I didn't realize that Ratatan was a roguelike because, if I'm not mistaken, Patapon isn't. And I know this isn't a sequel, but it's a spiritual successor.
The third one is.
The third
kind of
is a roguelike?
The third one is. It has roguelike elements.
So it's roguelite.
Yeah.
But the UI is really nice in this. I like the way the UI looks. We see a brief flash of some cards that I assume are like the classic 3 upgrade choices you get in a roguelike. And the designs of them are really fun, very like Pokemon inspired. And this is another game that has a demo out right now. Have you played it? Because I feel like if there's any demo you would play, it's this one.
It would be this one. I'm going to trust because I've been waiting for this for years.
But yeah, this was a Kickstarter game, wasn't it?
It sure was.
Did you pledge to the Kickstarter?
I didn't get a chance to before it ended. Which was project. I want my name in the credits. Sob, cry, cry. But I've been following Ratatan's development very, very closely. Doubly so, like after I replayed the Patapon games for the first time in a really long time. And so, like, to see, I love that it's a spiritual successor and it has all the same bones, but its meat is different. Like, it's a natural evolution of the concept that made Patapon fun, and it doesn't look nearly as frustrating as the first game is, or, well, not is, but can be. And I wasn't feeling the art style at first when I saw it, like, on the Kickstarter, but seeing it in motion, seeing it in action, I'm like, I love this. I love how bright and colorful it is, even though the Patapon games are very heavily stylized. I think that this evolution in art direction also fits to, like, or, like, it feels a little better now that it's, like, seeing it in context of gameplay. Like, it really fits what it's trying to, like, setting out to try to do. I really like this trailer, if you couldn't tell.
Yeah, it looks fun. I still have to play Patapon, which is on Switch, and that's very well planned. But yeah, that's it for the Future Games Show. Moving on to the Xbox Showcase. Most of the information I'm going to be talking about is coming from the Xbox Wire blog. So the showcase started with a trailer for Outer Worlds. But there was a showcase for Outer Worlds, an extended look at the game where the developers, did a deep dive. So we'll save that for the very end. After Outer Worlds, we had Resonance, A Plague Tale's Legacy. This new game from Asobo Studio and Focus Entertainment expands the universe of A Plague's Tale with an original story set 15 years before the events of the last game, A Plague Tale Requiem. With a new action-adventure approach, players are invited to dive into Sophia's past and journey with her to the Minotaur's Island, outsmart deadly foes, unravel ancient secrets, and confront the creature at the heart of a devastating curse. Her sword in one hand and light in the other, Sophia will plunge into the myth of the Makula until she understands why it resonates so intimately with her. It releases sometime next year. So, the previous games in this franchise didn't interest me. But since this one is a lot more action-focused, it's caught my attention, and I'm interested in seeing a lot more. What did you think of A Plague or Resonance, A Plague Tale's Legacy?
I actually never heard of this franchise before I watched this trailer,
Really?
but the art, really, and going in like completely blind, not knowing anything about I didn't even know it was a franchise until you brought it up. I'm not gonna lie, but the art style has it's intrigued me. I don't know if I'll be playing it, but I'll definitely be keeping like a close eye.
Yeah, the other two games are nothing like this. They are like
really
stealth puzzle games, and this game will also be a puzzle game, an action puzzler, but they're you play as in the first game, at least I know, and I think you play the same character in the second game, but I know the first game you play as a woman who, or I think she's actually like a teenager who is guiding her little brother through a rat plague infested city and trying to escape like the city guard as well, or like hide from them. So you're navigating hordes of rats and guards, and you're using like torches and braziers, yeah, to like
I googled it.
Get around the rats. Okay. Yeah.
I wouldn't have never guessed that. Like, they have the same title, but I never would have guessed that these two games were.
Yeah, when I saw this trailer, I was like, it looks like a Plague Tale because it has the same art style, and it was Focus Entertainment. But I was like, there's no way this is Plague Tale. It looks nothing like it, but it is.
Right.
But it's very different, and it doesn't seem like it has to do with a plague, which is interesting. But yeah, it looks cool. Very action focused. Greek myth inspired with the Minotaur. So, we'll see when we see more.
Yeah.
Next, we have the Asus ROG Xbox Ally. The ROG Xbox Ally and ROG Xbox Ally X are two new handhelds that combine the power of Xbox with the freedom you expect from Windows. Together with Asus, we've combined our strengths and technical expertise to provide a premium gaming experience that travels with players wherever they go. With the Xbox Ally, it's never been easier to access your favorite games from Xbox, Battle.net, and other leading third-party PC storefronts from a single device. Yeah, so I think it also has a Steam OS on it as well.
Oh, banger.
But the big thing about this is not the Xbox handheld. Xbox is still making their own handheld. The big thing about this is that it has the new Xbox OS. Previously, they were just using Windows OS on handhelds, and for a lot of people it was unwieldy, and it just wasn't fun to use, or it just wasn't intuitive to use on a handheld gaming device versus like a laptop. It was essentially the laptop OS but on a gaming device. But now they have an actual proprietary handheld OS that's going to be shared across multiple devices. So this isn't just going to be exclusive to the ROG Xbox Ally. And, presumably, of course, it's going to be part of their own streaming device or handheld device, whenever that comes out. But this reveal was followed up by a speech from Xbox President Sarah Bond, pressing the point that Xbox is becoming an operating system on everything and pushing their Play Anywhere initiative that I've been loving, and I talked about when they announced Gears of War Reload. And from here on out, every Xbox first-party game will be 100% compatible with both Xbox Allies, the regular Ally and the Ally X. So even Xbox is beginning to make their games run natively on handheld. So this means that third parties will have to start thinking about how their games run on handheld as well, which will also help with porting games to Switch 2. And if PlayStation goes the same route, and making the handheld that they're rumored to be making, then it'll just be easier for games to go between these multiple SKUs of systems, because they will be developed that way from the beginning.
Right.
We also got the reveal that Hollow Knight Silksong will be releasing this year, through Sarah Bond saying that it will release day and date with the Xbox Ally. And Team Cherry really needs to up their game when it comes to advertising this game, because why is this how we're finding this out?
Right.
What is happening? What's going on over there at Team Cherry? Something is deeply wrong, because every time we hear about this game, it's a little snippet in something else. Like we saw a little snippet of it in the Nintendo Showcase weeks ago. That wasn't even weeks ago. It was over a month ago.
Right.
And it was at the previous Xbox Showcase as well. And now it's coming out this year, but we're finding out through through the trailer for an Xbox handheld device. That doesn't even make any sense.
Right.
Why wasn't there just a straight up trailer here? What's going on? Team Cherry, do you need help? Blink twice if you need help, Team Cherry. What's going on?
For real.
You're an indie studio. You can't afford to be messing up like this. Because this
Right.
game's gonna come out and then nobody's gonna know it's coming out because they aren't advertising
Mm.
it. Yeah,
Gonna be like secondhand marketing here through a friend.
yeah.
Who knows a friend? Who knows a friend? At this rate.
Very, very strange marketing from Team Cherry.
Mm.
I should also mention with the ROG Ally, um,
Mm.
with the Xbox Ally, it's probably going to be super expensive because
Oh
handhelds are
yeah.
always more expensive than regular consoles because they have to be at the cutting edge of technology to try and run games that run on a regular console and PC. So
Mm-hmm.
this is probably going to cost like $800.
I was
But
about to say, yeah.
there's two SKUs. There's the X and the regular version. So the I don't know, the cheaper one might be what, $600, $700, probably $700. The more expensive one's probably gonna be like 1,000. Like this is gonna be expensive. Um,
Mm-hmm.
but because like otherwise, but I don't know. I want to hope that Xbox's proprietary like handheld will be closer to like a console price, like $600 or something like that.
Right, or at least the Steam Deck. Like,
Yeah.
or I might be thinking of refurbished ones, but I don't remember the Steam Deck being like 600, $800.
It depends. Like a lot of tech nowadays, there's like different versions of like more storage or RAM
Mm-hmm.
and stuff like that that cost more. Next, we have the Blood of Dawnwalker. From Rebel Wolves and Bandai Namco Entertainment comes a brand new dark fantasy role playing saga, The Blood of Dawnwalker. You can play as Cohen, a young man turned into a Dawnwalker, half man, half vampire, forever treading the line between the world of day and the realm of night. I believe they call those Dampiers. Fight,
Yep.
fight for your humanity or embrace the cursed powers to save your family. Whatever your choice, the question stands: is your soul worth the lives of those you love? Coming in 2026. So, Rebel Wolves
Mm.
is a team made up of former Witcher devs, and you can
Oh.
see it in the world and the combat of this game. Uh, they show
Mm-hmm.
your character at one point defying the laws of gravity and walking up a wall like it's the ground, which is very cool.
Mm-hmm.
And it seems like there will be some level of stealth or like immersive sim elements to this game, which has me even more excited than I already was from that first initial trailer and very tiny snippet of gameplay we saw back then. But now we get a lot more of the combat and traversal in this, and it looks cool. There was also a moment where you're like traversing rooftops and they like do like a teleport that looks like the blink from Dishonored. So if this
Yeah, that was
has
really cool.
yeah, if this has some like immersive sim elements, I'm definitely even more excited.
Mm-hmm.
What did you think of this trailer?
I hmm, I have mixed feelings. Simply because like I feel like the dark fantasy angle, like action RPG angle, is kind of played out, but they did manage to make the gameplay cool enough that it held my attention. So again, one of those things. I might not play it, but it words. It'll definitely be on my radar.
Next, we have Super Meat Boy 3D. Gaming's most iconic chunk of meat is back. Today's showcase revealed Super Meat Boy 3D from Sluggerfly and Hit Up Games, who are taking Team Meat's indie darling into the third dimension. The game arrives in early 2026. Super Meat Boy 3D is exactly what you love about the series, a challenging platformer where you guide a cube of meat on a mission to rescue his bandage made girlfriend from a villainous fetus in a jar, now in 3D.
Yeah.
You'll wall jump through buzzsaws, collapsing caves, and fiery forests, dying countless times along the way. With old school difficulty, fast paced gameplay, tough bosses, and plenty of secrets, it's a new dimension for Meat Boy. Yeah, this is surprising. I didn't expect it. Super Meat Boy in 3D. I
Yeah,
can't
me neither.
remember if I've ever played it. I know I've definitely seen people play it a ton, but I don't think I've ever played the 2D
Mhm.
Super Meat Boys. Have you?
I have. And truly some of the video games of all time, like watching other people play them is very fun. Playing them yourself, not as much, not as much. And I have to be honest about this. I'm like 3D Meat Boy, that's cool. I don't like the art style.
Oh,
I
I like
like
it.
it feels like ever since the property has kind of like left the hands of Edmund McMillan, it's been kind of going in a weird direction art style wise. Because Super Meat Boy 2 also had a I don't know. It's just this might be me being nostalgia blind, but I don't like it. It doesn't look good in 3D to me.
Yeah, I like the way it looks, but I can understand that. But I also don't
Mm-mm.
have any connection to the old version.
Yeah, a good chunk of that, like I said, is nostalgia blindness, but also, it's just the part of the charm of the original Meat Boy was that it was 2D. You can get a lot like away with a lot more of the because it harkens back to that like Flash game, like that old Flash game era, because I think Meat Boy started as a Flash game if I'm remembering correctly, and it's like the 3D of it kind of I don't know, it just doesn't feel right to me. But maybe in playing it, I'll get like used to it and it'll be better. But who knows?
Yeah, the story about bandage bathed girlfriend and a fetus in a jar is wild.
Yeah,
I
well, that's just the plot. It's very silly.
yeah, this will be on Game Pass. So I'll probably be checking it out.
Well, if it's on Game Pass, then I'll definitely check it out because then I don't have to pay for it. And just in case if I don't like it, I can be like, okay, that was a fun little romp.
Yeah, I'll just play something else on Game Pass now.
Right.
um,
Go play Balatro.
um, Next we have Ninja Gaiden 4. The legendary Ninja action franchise returns in Ninja Gaiden 4, a high-octane fusion of Team Ninja's signature combat and Platinum Games' dynamic flair. The trailer they debuted during the show provides a deeper look at Yakumo, the young ninja prodigy, and an array of new weapons at his disposal as he battles through hordes of enemies. From seamless weapon switching and obliteration techniques to the explosive return of Blood Wind Ninjutsu and Nimpo arts, the trailer teases a brutal, stylish evolution of the series, with a sneak peek at new characters like Sayori, massive boss battles, the mysterious connection to the legendary Ryu Hayabusa, and a near-future Tokyo struggling in the grips of an overwhelming evil. Ninja Gaiden 4 is set to deliver a legacy reborn when it launches October 21st. This trailer was awesome because this game is awesome.
It was. It
And
was.
I'm so excited. It comes so soon. So soon. Um,
I know.
with this trailer and some of the pre-order information, it's been revealed that Yakumo will wield 4 different weapons: a katana, dual katanas, a hammer, and a drill spear, which is heavily featured in this
Ooh,
trailer and looks cool as hell. Um, and
it
I'm
did.
so excited for this game. Ryu looks like he
Hmm.
plays just like he does in the older games, which is very interesting. Which I feel like adds to the fact that I think that you're not going to be playing assembly a lot in this game because he plays just like he
Right.
does in Ninja Gaiden 2, which is probably them literally pulling assets from the Ninja Gaiden 2 as they were working on the remake or the remaster.
Mhm.
Yeah, next we have Beast of Reincarnation. The show revealed the first trailer for Beast of Reincarnation, a new action JRPG from revered developer Game Freak. Set in a post-apocalyptic
Huh.
Japan, the world has become consumed by corruption and overtaken by a formidable beast. Play as Emma, a cursed outcast, and her loyal dog Ku, as they journey through a dangerous, ever-shifting world that demands precision and mastery of technical combat. Uncover what it means to be human at the edge of extinction and Beast of Reincarnation. So when I was watching this trailer and Game Freak popped up, I was gobsmacked.
Confused.
I was like, Game
Yeah.
Freak, the people that make those ass Pokemon games. No, I'm joking. But
But you're not wrong.
and you watch this and go, oh, I mean, we all knew that was the Pokemon Company and Nintendo holding them back, but now it's very clear that it's the Pokemon Company
Yeah.
and Nintendo holding them back because they can make
Like
games
now they're
like this.
right. I've never seen Game Freak lock in like this, but it is so refreshing to see.
It's an action game, which is different from
Hmm.
what we usually get from Game Freak with Pokemon
Yep.
turn-based RPG. And it looks
Right.
good. It looks like a hack and slash. But I've been deceived before. See a trailer for a
Yeah.
cool ass action game just for it to end up being a Souls like, and it's always
Like,
upsetting. I hope that this is actually a hack and slash and not a Souls like,
yeah.
or if at the very least it's somewhere in between.
Yeah. Somewhere in between I'd be okay with, but like if it's just a Souls like that looks like a hack and slash, like no, that's so disappointing. It's like you had me, you locked in, and then you lost me. But hopefully that doesn't happen.
Yeah. Next, we got Clockwork Revolution.
Mm.
Clockwork Revolution, the time-bending RPG from inXile Entertainment, debuted a new trailer revealing the grittier side of the steampunk city of Avalon. This is where the downtrodden steal to survive, gangs prey on the weak, and where our hero Morgan calls home. After discovering that history has been carefully crafted by the city's ruler, Lady Ironwood, you'll use a time travel device to go into the past and set things straight in whatever way you see fit. Morgan is a very clever name to use because that's very gender neutral. Because you can create your own character in this. And it is very much seems like a Bioshock-inspired game, an immersive sim, where you have some time controlling abilities, which they only reveal like halfway through the trailer. The trailer starts good. It seems like it has some very clever writing. It seems funny. And they show a scene that gives you a glimpse at the character creation, and there's like a narrative built around the character creation where it's a person going to the police to report a crime and to describe the assailant, and as they're describing the assailant, you're building your character, and that's really what the assailant looks like. And then the story picks up from the day before when you did the crime. So that's really cool. And I haven't played Bioshock yet. I have it purchased on my Xbox. I just haven't sat down to play them. All three of the games. But I've played other immersive sims like Dishonored and Deathloop. So I'm definitely excited to get more immersive sims. We don't get as many of them as we should.
We should. We don't. It kind of reminded me of Lies of P a little bit, but I think that's just the steampunk theming of it all.
Also all of
it's like if you took
the robot people.
Yeah, if you took Lies of P and then like Red Dead Redemption and fused them together, that's the vibe I kind of.
Oh yeah,
which was very interesting to me.
The weapon customization looks so good.
It does.
The weapon customization doesn't just look like super detailed, but the weapon designs themselves look awesome.
Banger.
Yeah, this game looks like it'll be really fun. My only problem with this trailer, it was easily the best trailer I think that they showed at the Xbox showcase, but they didn't give a release date. Why would you show this much game? They didn't even say a year or a season.
Right.
They said nothing. They just made a little joke and said coming in due time because it's a game about time travel. When is it coming out?
Right.
You don't show this much game and then not tell us when. At least give us a year. That's insane.
Right.
That's so weird. But yeah, this game looks really good. Next we had Grounded 2. Grounded 2 steps out of the backyard and into the suburban wilderness. New bugs, new biomes, same tiny chaos. Set in the all-new Brook Hollow Park and featuring the return of our teen heroes, this continuation brings major quality of life upgrades like the all-in-one Omni Tool and delivers on one of the community's most requested features, rideable buggies. It's not just a sequel, it's the follow-up fans were hoping for, packed with sharper tools, weirder bugs, and enough callbacks to make you wonder, and we've been lurking in your forum threads. Spoiler, we have. Built-in partnership with Adios Montreal and launching into game preview on July 29th, Grounded 2 provides more story systems, and surprises from the very beginning, shaped by over 25 million players and counting. Yeah, this is Obsidian's third game this year. Earlier this year, they released Avowed. And in a few months, they're going to be releasing Outer Worlds 2. And I think next month, they just said it. Game preview, July 29th. So, this is insane. Where do they find the time? How many people do they have working over there? Hire me.
Right.
They got that studio has to be gigantic to be working on 3 games at once. Well, they did work in partnership with a different studio, but still, that's insane. Have you played Grounded or have any interest in Grounded?
I'd actually never heard of it before this. But,
yeah, it's an interesting game. I think it's like
it looks interesting.
Well, I forget what you call that genre. Was it like Pal World, where you build a home in an open world environment? I forget what that genre is called.
Sandbox, right? Or not quite?
It's just like grounded.
Mm.
It's like I would like Ark. That is also a similar type of game. It's essentially like Ark, but instead of dinosaurs, it's bugs. I
Gotcha.
guess it's just survival. Is like this style of game.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, it's a survival game. Where you
gotcha.
play. It's like Honey I Shrunk the Kids, but a survival game,
Hmm.
basically.
I might have to check out the first one. Sounds like it's up my alley.
Yeah, I would guess it's on Game Pass because it's made by Obsidian. Obsidian's owned by Xbox.
Mm-hmm.
Next, we have Chronos: The New Dawn. Get ready to embark on a haunting journey this fall as Chronos: The New Dawn arrives. In this gripping third-person survival horror, step into the shoes of the Traveler, an agent of the mysterious collective whose mission is to salvage what remains of humanity. In the time-warp nightmare of the future, monsters known as orphans stalk the land. Emerging from the downfall of mankind, these grotesque creatures confuse together to create even deadlier foes. In the gameplay trailer, we witness the Traveler descend into an orphan nest, confronting the twisted creatures that inhabit its depths. The corpses of fallen travelers tell a grim tale, yet their final records offer crucial warnings. Can you succeed where others have failed? I can't help but think that it's not a real survival horror game. It's just a rich person going around murdering actual orphans.
Yeah.
and that's what they call the orphanage, is an orphan nest.
Right.
That would honestly be a real funny game. To make it like look like it's a horror game, but it's really just a horrible person killing orphans.
But it would have to be really self-aware.
It would,
about
yeah,
I
it would
think
have
that's
to
the
be funny. It would have to have really good writing.
Right.
But yeah, this is made by Bloober Team, the devs behind the Silent Hill 2 remake, and it very much feels like it's inspired by Dead Space, which has me very excited. The enemies remind me of the Regenerators from Resident Evil, and it even seems like they do actually regenerate. So if this game is a combination of my two favorite survival horror games made by a team that worked on an excellent remake of one of the greatest survival horror games of all time, this will be a good game. This will be an incredible game.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I'm excited for this. Later this year. I didn't write down a date. I think it's October. Like, I have to look it up.
Something like that, yeah.
Nope, it doesn't. It just says this year. Okay. I guess we have what, 6 months.
Which is insane to think about, by the way.
Yeah. Next we have There Are No Ghosts at the Grand. Inherit a crumbling English hotel and restored. I didn't know it was English. Nobody in the trailer had an English accent.
Yeah, that's weird.
Inherit a crumbling English hotel and restored by day while battling ghosts by night. And there are no ghosts at the Grand. With a sardonic cat, a talking power tool, and a twisting supernatural plot, this is a spooky, cozy musical mystery unlike any other. You have exactly 30 days and 30 nights to restore the crumbling hotel and explore the surrounding seaside village for eerie supernatural secrets. Yeah, this sounds like the plot of a Persona game, Loki. just put them in high school, and then you got a Persona game.
Right.
And remove the musical part.
Yeah.
But the musical part is the best part of this because the music in this sounds great. And it looks really fun. It's basically like a house flipper game, but it has a narrative that's a musical and has the supernatural twist. And it'll be on Game Pass. So I'm definitely going to check this out. This looks really fun. Yeah, it's coming sometime next year.
Ooh.
Next, we have Planet of Lana 2, Children of the Leaf. Revealed today, Planet of Lana 2, Children of the Leaf is an ambitious cinematic puzzle adventure that doubles the size and scope of the original. Launching in 2026 and day one with Game Pass, this highly anticipated sequel revisits Lana and Mui's profound bond as they navigate a changed world after the robot invasion of the first game. With new improved mechanics for Lana and Mui, as well as brand new abilities to control the creatures and robots around you, prepare to unravel a deeper, longer sci-fi story where Lana confronts her own demons and unveils the planet's darkest secrets as a new threat puts their unbreakable bond to the ultimate test. Yeah, this is a sequel to a game that came out in 2023 that I saw a lot of trailers for back then. Never played myself, I always thought it looked cool, but not necessarily for me. Um,
Mhm.
did you ever see anything about the original game?
I didn't, but I am interested in the sequel. It kind of reminds me of Inside, but like
Mm.
with a little more meat to it. I guess I could say. I was really into the trailer, and I really liked the art style.
Yeah, it's a very good looking game.
Mhm.
Yeah, next we have one of my favorite announcements from this show. At Fate's End, Thunder Lotus proudly revealed At Fate's End, an action adventure game where you fight the ones you love with the legendary god sword Asus as Shan, the deft young heiress of the Hemlock clan. Solve intricate narrative puzzles, uncover painful truths, and hone both your blade skills and knowledge to face your estranged siblings in intense emotional duels, and ultimately decide your family's fate from the award-winning team behind Spiritfarer. At Fate's End weaves tight, visceral action with rich narrative depth. Explore the complicated bonds between brothers and sisters in a world where swords clash and family wounds run deep. This game looks awesome, and the
It
combat,
does.
the art style is gorgeous. I don't know if you remember
Fantastic.
Spiritfarer, but Spiritfarer is also a
I
very beautiful
do,
game.
but I still haven't played it.
Yeah.
I need to.
But the combat is more than swinging your sword in this game. You see a glimpse of it in the trailer, but I went to the blog post to learn more, and it says, well, on the Steam page actually, they say, your blade may cut deep, but your journey will demand more than combat prowess. Shape confrontations through tactical dialogue and psychological insight using your deep knowledge of your family's secrets to gain the upper hand. So it seems like there would be cinematic moments where there are like clashes, and you choose to form a dialogue tree, either based on things that you discover over the course of your exploration in the game, that will likely impact the fight in a way that is to your advantage, which sounds very interesting.
Very interesting.
Yeah, this game looks gorgeous. This is gonna be one of those games that I play on my Switch, which you're gonna hear a lot this episode. Or well, this is the indie episode that I'm saying this, so I don't know. I so I guess what you will have heard a lot this episode, because I feel like this is gonna be my indie machine where I play indie games and like side scrollers on my Switch, because those are the type of games that'll be great to play portably as well. Next we have Gears of War Reloaded. Gears of War is coming to more players than ever before with the upcoming release of Gears of War Reloaded on August 26, 2025 for everything except Switch. That hasn't been announced yet, if that's happening, which I'm sure it will eventually. An all-new trailer, showcases the iconic gameplay and cinematics that changed gaming forever. Now lovingly remastered, this is the definitive release, optimized for each platform, featuring 4K textures, 60 frames per second, 60 frames per second in campaign, and 120 frames per second in multiplayer. Whoa, I thought they were going to say it was lower, but it was higher.
Oh, wow.
Cross-play, cross-progression, and more. Additionally, a 2-weekend multiplayer beta begins June 13th. I didn't know this. That's this Friday. Taking place across all platforms. For Game Pass Ultimate / Game Pass PC members, that's me, owners of the additional version of Gears of War Ultimate Edition, and those with Gears of War Reloaded pre-orders. Oh, that's the people who get access to the multiplayer beta.
Dope.
Like I've said before, I've been itching to finally play through this game in its entirety with my little brother, so I'm excited for this. Because I played the first 3 before. It's just been a long time. I played them back on the 360 when they were first released. Or at least I don't remember which one the third one came out on. I think the third one did come out on 360. But yeah, if you want to play Gears of War, that's another co-op game you play with your partner.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You got a PC played on Game Pass.
I know.
Game Pass so good.
Game Pass is very good.
I heard.
Mm-hmm.
A remake of the modern classic JRPG, Persona 4 Revival, received the debut trailer showing off the game's gorgeous updated visuals. Within the rural town of Inaba, arriving as a transfer student, you'll experience an unforgettable year with new friends you meet along the way. However, rumors of bizarre murders and a mysterious TV channel quickly disrupt your peaceful everyday life. A door to another world opens, awakening your persona abilities. It is time to fight alongside your trusted allies to uncover the truth. I'm so excited. We talked about it. They called it revival. Not rewind,
which I think is actually...
not rerun, but revival, which I like. And I think it's smart.
Yeah, it's a good name for it.
Because they're absolutely going to change aspects of the story that were problematic.
Hopefully. Fingers crossed.
It'd be insane if they didn't.
Yeah.
It would be absolutely insane if they didn't. We're in a very different world than, what was that, 2007?
Yep, 2007. And okay, so I have complicated feelings surrounding Persona 4 as a whole, because I played, like I said, the more modern Personas. Those runs were my first. I went 3, 4, 5. That was my play order. I love 3. I love 5. 4, not as much. So
maybe this will change.
When this got announced, yeah, that's what I'm thinking. It's like, hopefully, they change a lot of the things that I really didn't, especially problematic aspects. And like a lot of the gameplay too is really just leaves a lot to be desired. Especially the dungeons. But, fingers crossed. I have a little hope. Not a lot, but a little. But I am also muting Persona 4 on all social media platforms, so you don't probably for the rest of time.
Yeah,
not even just spoilers. Just I don't feel like hearing the discourse. I really don't.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. I don't think I did that for Reload. I think I managed to just avoid spoilers. Maybe I did. I don't remember. But yeah, I still got to finish Persona 5. But this doesn't seem like it's coming anytime soon. This is probably not a next year game. It's probably a 2027 game because they didn't even give a date. They just said it's happening. And rumors are is that they're also working on Persona 6. So we don't. I assume this will probably come first, but who knows? Right. Some people are upset that we're getting another remake instead of a new game, but I think people are forgetting about Metaphor.
Right.
That game came out. That was a game that happened. And it was made by the people that made 5. So it's like they don't have all the time in the world to just make 1,000 games. They're not Obsidian.
Right.
Their team has been split into 2. So from my understanding, the team that made Metaphor are going to go forward to make not Persona games, which I'm happy for, because if we can get more Persona style games that aren't stuck in high school, I'll be happy. But I do also still want those high school Persona games. But I do want them to branch out of high school and like find a different structure, like college, if they want to stick to school. But maybe like I've talked about before, like an office job or something like that, where it's like you still get that same structure of like having to do the same thing every day. But it's not necessarily high school. But
it's more relatable to the new player base,
Yeah, but the door's open for the new side of the studio to start doing that. And Persona can stick in their lane with high school. But yeah, I'm excited for this. It looks good. It looks very pretty. It looks even better.
It does look very good.
Yeah, it looks even better than Persona 3 Reload, which that game looks real good.
What I'm really excited to see is the UI design, because Persona 3 Reload, I love its UI to pieces.
How'd you feel about
I love the water theming. It's really great.
How'd you like the Reload UI?
I loved it. It was like easy to navigate. It looked really, really good. I love it a lot more than the original Persona 5, which the less said about it, the better. But so like that, I think is really what has me excited for the P4 remake.
Because they've perfected.
I know they can do a lot of
the creative UI. I'm excited to, because you've played I don't know if you've started playing the game full, but I know that you played the demo for Metaphor. And the UI in Metaphor is insane, but I haven't interacted with the Metaphor myself, or I haven't interacted with Metaphor and its UI myself. I've only seen it in action, and I'm excited to check that out eventually. But there's, especially the chance, depending on how long it takes me to beat Royal, there's a chance that I might not even look. Who knows when I'm going to play Metaphor? Like at some point, I'm just going to have to start it, because at this rate, Persona 4 and 6 might come out before I get a chance to start Meta for it. And if that happens, I'm just going to have to start playing it because I know I'm not going to play it all the way through straight. I know I'm going to take breaks like I am right now with Persona 5 Reload or Royal. I'm like, it's been a couple months since I played that game because I've played so many other games. But yeah, next we have Invincible Versus. Quarter Up, Skybound's first in-house gaming development studio, revealed Invincible Versus. The trailer reveals a brutal tournament-quality superhero 3v3 tag fighting game set in the award-winning Invincible universe. It also showcases fan-favorite superheroes Mark and Invincible. Okay, they say fan-favorite superheroes, but then they start naming. They say Thula, who is a Viltrumite that nobody knows.
Right.
I know who Thula is because I've read the comics and watched the show, but most people don't know who the hell she is. She's the one with the ponytail with the knife on it.
Okay.
Bulletproof and Adam Eve. Iconic arenas, the high stakes of bloody superhero battles, and an authentic depiction of battle damage and bloody combat fans know and love. Invincible Versus will launch in 2026. So I initially thought, who asked for this? Because I saw it was Invincible, and I was like, this art style looks great. Please be an open world game. It wasn't. It was a fighting game. And I was thinking, I don't know if many people are craving an Invincible fighting game. People want Invincible as a guest fighter in other fighting games, sure. But right. I personally would prefer if we either got a Telltale Invincible game or an open world action game from Invincible. But then I found out that this studio is made up of former devs from the team that worked on the Killer Instinct game for 2013. And now I'm interested. This team is led by former Killer Instinct devs. So that makes me a lot more interested in this game. And I don't think this is a Game Pass game, but who knows? Maybe it is. But yeah, it looks cool. I don't imagine I'm gonna get into this if I'm being real. Because we got Marvel Tokon Fighters coming, which that looks awesome. And I like Street Fighter 6, so I'm probably gonna get back into that eventually. So it's like I don't think I'm gonna get into this because I can only handle but so many fighting games. Fighting games are just so hard to get into. Right. Next we got Final Fantasy VII Remake and 16. Final Fantasy VII Remake with the Integrate DLC is coming this winter to Xbox. And 16 was shadow dropped that day on Sunday. So Xbox players can finally play the latest Final Fantasy games alongside Nintendo, though I don't think Nintendo has 16 yet.
I don't think so, no.
And I know this decision was made by Square it was made by Square. Wait, no, I said that right. I confused myself. I know this decision was made by Square Enix because Final Fantasy wasn't making as much money as they wanted with the timed PlayStation exclusive deal that they've had. So presumably, the next Final Fantasy game will be released everywhere day one. But I'm not sure about the finale of the remake trilogy though, because that could potentially be tied up in like a previous deal with PlayStation to make it, timed exclusive.
Right.
But Final Fantasy is about to start, just being everywhere day one, so that they could actually start making money again. Because people play them, when it's on one console, you can only make but so much money.
Right.
But yeah, have you gotten around to playing either of those?
I have not, but I will now that it's on Nintendo. Once I get my Switch too, it's over.
Yeah. I'm curious to see how it plays on the Switch too. Not enough to buy it because I already have it, but I guess I could just look at some YouTube videos because I think it's out now on Switch already, or maybe it's not. I can't remember. No, I think it is because I thought
you're better than me.
Saw it in the store.
Yeah, you're better than me. I'll buy a game 3 times.
Wow.
Hence Balatro.
Well, it depends on how much it costs and the game, but
Yeah. I was just it's definitely not every game, but a lot of games where it's like I want to have this portably also because I love it so much, I'll buy twice or like 3 times.
Yeah, for me it has to have like cross progression. Balatro is an exception because it's not really that important that I like. They're gonna add it eventually, and I'm gonna be happy. But yeah, I'll probably just end up unlocking all the things I already unlocked on my Xbox on the Switch anyway, because that is about to become the place that I just primarily play Balatro.
Right.
But yeah, next we got Keeper. Keeper, the beautiful otherworldly third-person adventure from Double Fine Productions was announced during the show with a somewhat psychedelic and mysterious first trailer. And we don't have long to wait. It arrives on October 17th, very soon.
Mm-hmm.
We encountered a lighthouse that, after eons of standing dormant, falls to the ground, breaking into heaps of rubble, but then reassembles and stands up again on newly formed legs. It has awakened. Yes, folks, that's right. In Keeper, you play as a walking lighthouse, able to shine a beam of light, of bright light, that affects the world around it. With a spirited seabird companion coming along for the ride, the trailer takes us on an epic adventure into a strange, unknowable island. Joining the lighthouse on a journey toward the center of the island. This is coming from the Deadman Psychonauts, and it looks cool. A lot of people have been wanting Double Fine to make a new Banjo-Kazooie game because that franchise has just been dormant forever. And they said, fine, we'll do it. But instead of a bear and a bird, it'll be a lighthouse and a bird. Yeah, this game looks cool. Great art style as always.
It does.
Have you played Psychonauts?
I have. I love Psychonauts to bits. It's one of my favorite games.
Have you played the second one?
So, I have not played the second one. It is in my Steam library, though.
It's on Game Pass.
It will be played. It is. But I bought it already.
Oh, you already bought it? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Look at you. You're about to consider buying it again. Well, you wouldn't have to buy it again if you were subscribed to Game Pass. But still.
Right. Play it on Game Pass.
But yeah, this
could always fun. No, you don't have to.
This game looks fun. I'll definitely be checking it out when it comes out later this year. Mm-hmm. Hopefully. Wait. Okay, that's a couple of days before Ninja Gaiden. Because I was gonna say, wait a minute, Ninja Gaiden might take over my life. I'm gonna play it. I'm gonna play it for like, let me do math. 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, no, 4 days. I'm gonna play for 4 days, and then Ninja Gaiden's gonna take over my life.
As it should.
Next, let me take my glasses off for this because this was horrible. Why did I take my glasses off? I can't read. For the first time in Call of Duty history, developers Treyarch and Raven Software are bringing players Black Ops titles back to back with the confirmation of Call of Duty Black Ops 7. The year is 2035, and the world is on the brink of chaos, ravaged by conflict and psychological warfare following the narrative events of Black Ops 2 and Black Ops 6, which is wild that those are the two games that this is a sequel of. That's such a big gap.
Connected.
With cutting-edge technology in hand, the Black Ops team, led by David Mason, must fight back against a manipulative enemy who weaponizes fear above all else. Squad up with friends or play solo in the innovative co-op campaign. Ooh, that's actually exciting. Harness near-future weaponry and the signature multiplayer mode, packed with brand new maps, and descend into the next twisted chapter of round-based zombies in the heart of the Dark Ether. This tease is just the beginning. Don't miss the official reveal of Call of Duty Black Ops 7 this summer. So this sucked because it was just the worst way to end this show because they made it seem like it was going to be something else.
That's the part I hated the most about this trailer. I was so interested. I was like, wow, what game is this going to be? This seems so neat. And then it was like, Black Ops 7.
Exactly. Right. It didn't show any gameplay. It was just a story trailer for a game franchise that most people don't care about the story or know enough about the story to be able to recognize anything that's happening. So this was the dumbest way to reveal this game. You reveal a Call of Duty with gameplay, not a story trailer. That's weird. Also, unfortunately, hold on, let me look up his name before I say this. So, the voice actor who played Raul Menendez, who is name dropped in this trailer, presumably will be in the game, maybe. Camar de los Reyes passed away sometime last year. He also played White Tiger in the latest season of Daredevil Born Again, or the first season, I guess, of Daredevil Born Again. And yeah, he passed away. And I found out that he played Menendez, in a lot of those rest in peace posts. And yeah, he passed away. So I'm curious to see what they're gonna do with that character, whether or not, they'll just recast him, or I feel like the character did die in the series already. So maybe he's already dead. I don't know. I can't remember. But they do name drop him in the trailer like he's alive. So he might end up, either he might get recast, or there's a good chance maybe he already voiced these lines before he passed away. So we'll have to see.
Yeah.
But, other than that, this trailer sucked. But we're gonna end it off
Yeah.
on something that was actually cool. Actually cool and interesting first-person shooter. Outer Worlds. Yes, Outer Worlds. I always confuse Outer Worlds and Outer Wilds. And now there's a game coming out called Out of Words. It's all confusing. Okay, find different names for your games.
Very confusing.
The Outer Worlds 2 pulls you into Arcadia, a colony isolated from the rest of the system, fought over by power-hungry factions, and on the brink of near to midterm collapse by rifts forming in the space around it. With the future up for grabs, survival might depend on your choices, your alliances, and maybe a few well-placed deals along the way. Featured in the Xbox Game Showcase and expanded in today's The Outer Worlds 2 Direct, this bigger, bolder sequel builds on everything fans loved about the original. Deeper RPG systems, sharper satire, and wildly reactive storytelling. With new companions, enhanced movement and combat, science weapons and armor, and full character customization. The Outer Worlds 2 puts you at the center of a chaotic struggle for Arcadia's future. Launching October 29th, 2025. It hands you the chaos and asks, what are you going to do about it? Or what are you going to do with it? The world needs a hero. You'll have to do. So this was a great show, or a great direct. And it completely sold me on this game. The first game, I did not care about. I heard good things, but it just didn't look like it was for me. This one looks very fun. So go ahead.
Yeah, I tried playing the first one, and it wasn't actually that good. Like, it was fine. I get why people laud it, but it just wasn't a thing. Especially the character creation. Like, it was very lacking. So I hope this one has way better character creation.
Yeah, I think that the character creation isn't a big part of this game. So I wouldn't bank on that, honestly. But
yeah, unfortunately.
Well, it's at least in terms of cosmetics. In terms of like abilities, there's a lot of really cool stuff. And the reason why I'm actually a lot more interested in this in comparison to the first game. So in this developer direct, they had Ben Schwartz, the voice of Sonic in the movies, do skits in between segments, and they were hilarious and fit the overall vibe of the game, which is a satirical comedy about capitalism. One of the things that sold me on this game was the flaw system, which are perks that have one often comedic downside. Like, for example, bad knees, which allows you to move faster while crouched. But when you stand up, your knees make a loud popping sound that will alert people around you. And they also showed a flaw called kleptomaniac that increased the value of the items you loot when you resell them, but causes you to sometimes automatically pick up items in your vicinity, which can get you in trouble if you like mistakenly steal from a store or anything like that. So there's a bunch of different stuff like that. And I think there was one where like you have, I forget what it's called, like sun gazer, I think. And I think if you stare into the sun, you like regenerate your health, but you have to play the whole game with like cataracts basically. And it makes the game look worse. Like it's this game is insane. Yeah, I'm excited for this, and luckily it's on Game Pass because it is a whopping $80,
which is insane to me.
Xbox,
it's like you're.
Go ahead.
Yeah, like you're a criticism on capitalism, and yet $80.
Yeah, Xbox announced earlier this year that they'd be upping the price this fall, but it sucks that it was with the anti-capitalist game to start it.
Right.
Obviously, this wasn't the choice of the devs, so it especially sucks for them, where they're trying to tell this very anti-capitalist story, and then they're forced to sell their game for much higher than I'm sure they wanted to. Right. For better or for worse, though, this does make Game Pass a more intriguing buy for people interested in the game, though, because now it's like, oh, well, games are too expensive, so I'm just going to subscribe to this subscription service where it's still insane to me that to this day, you can play every single brand new Xbox Game Studios game on Game Pass day one, with no exception. Right. All of them. People like the shit on Xbox, but like lately, especially now that they're getting their shit together, they figured out a plan and it's working. The Play Everywhere thing and doubling down on Game Pass is working. And I think in the long run, it's going to be a good thing for the industry as a whole.
Hopefully.
But yeah, that's all we have. I'm Dijon. You can find my ads above me and our ears at above them. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to our channel if you want to see more storytelling content, and to click the notification bell so that you're notified when we post. Peace.
See ya.